Welcome to Whitty Analysis of Feature Films and Light Entertainment Pod. My name is Billy.
And I'm the one they call Sean.
Here we are. We're back again. Welcome back, everyone. Mum, Sean's mum.
Mothers.
Welcome back, both of you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, if you listened to the last one and then somehow made it back to this, obviously you either liked something or you're hoping that we get better at this as time goes on, which we really ought to.
Hopefully that will happen.
We've got a lot coming up for you this week. We've got a film review section. We're doing Bill and Ted Face the Music. We're doing episodes 3 and 4 of Snowpiercer. We've got a terrible film coming up, or maybe it's good. We'll see. And then we're going to do some trade-offs and some tips and things for you. This week, we're brought to you by carpets.
Ooh, carpets.
Sean, you know when you come home and you take your socks off, you take your shoes off in that order because you're weird, and then you put your feet down on the bare wooden floor and you get splinters and stuff. You know about that, don't you? We all have that. Yeah. Well, why not? Why not put a carpet down?
Never thought of that.
Carpets are great for floors. You can buy a whole carpet and just put it all over your house, all over the floors. It's really comfortable. And with our discount code, you can get 20% off all carpets at carpets.co.uk. Or you can just use the 20% that you saved to buy another 20% of carpets and then put carpet on your feet so that wherever you go, you're wearing carpet. Just in case you come to my house and I haven't put carpet down yet. Imagine that.
Could you even cut bits of it off and put it in your shoes?
You could do, yeah. But then how are you going to take your socks off before you take your shoes off? When are you going to do the carpet? You're going to take the carpet out first and then take your socks and shoes? I don't know. Anyway, carpets. Buy them. Put them on your floor. Put them on your feet. Love them. And use our discount code. Whitty Analysis of Feature Films and Light Entertainment Pod.co.uk. There we go. And that's the intro taken care of. Sure, no.
If we never get sponsored by carpets, there's something wrong.
I know, absolutely. It's going to be ridiculous. So how are you this week, Sean, anyway?
I'm not too shabby. I'm a bit stressed out for the past hour and a half trying to be getting things going, but nobody needs to know about that.
Yeah, little sneak behind the curtain of podcasting. Sometimes it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Sometimes your laptop just goes, nah. Not happening. What about yourself?
I'm alright, yeah, not too bad. I've just watched everything in a day for this one. So, fingers crossed we've got something to say and it's going to be witty and entertaining for everyone. So, moving on.
Let's go.
Next section. The film review section. Here we are. This week, Bill and Ted Face the Music. So, Sean.
Yes.
You watched this a while ago.
I did.
And you wanted to do this for the pod. And I was like, I'm worried about this. I went out yesterday and I bought it. And then on the back, it said, security warning. Please remove before microwaving this product.
That's not what you want to see on a DVD.
So before we got into it, I was like, am I microwaving this? So I bought a microwave because I don't have a microwave. I put the DVD in, and I had to go out and buy a new one because it warped it, completely fried the DVD. No, it didn't. But it did have that warning on the back. It was an odd thing to see. Anyway, Bill and Ted Face the Music. I fucking love this film.
I'm glad to hear it.
Again, swearing, but I fucking love this film, and thank you for recommending it, Sean. It's amazing.
You know what? I was worried when I watched it because I was like, I don't know if Billy's going to like this, and I love it. I'm like, this could be our first sort of, not argument because we're grown-ups, but this could be our first debate, and disagree with things.
Could be, yeah. I can hate it if you want. Anyway, I missed the synopsis. So Bill and Ted, the synopsis is, Bill and Ted, they're back. They're pretty much the same. They haven't really changed, although they've aged quite a bit. And Keanu Reeves looked fucking weird without a beard. And they've got oppositely named daughters. They sort of switch. They're supposed to be writing this song that they've always been supposed to be writing that's going to unite the world and everything and all across space and time. But they still haven't written it yet. So they go backwards in time. They go forwards in time, actually. The daughters go backwards. They go backwards and forwards in time.
Yeah, they're both
Everyone goes backwards and forwards in time. It's all very timey-wimey and very confusing, and I don't really know what's going on. But they dot about, they try and get the song, and maybe they'll get the song, maybe they won't get the song, and that's this film. And I loved it.
Before we get on to the details, I just wanted a perfect opportunity to drop my second of two in a row Doctor Who references. I don't know if you know, you said timey-wimey. That is a doctor.
I did.
Yeah, it was on purpose. Guys.
That was on purpose. Yeah, that was a little thing for just for you there, Sean.
Good, thank you. I appreciate that.
I should have winked, but maybe you can't see me.
The first thing I wrote for what I liked about this film, and it's because let's be honest, right? We're reviewing Bill and Ted. We're not reviewing an Oscar-winning sort of amazing script, amazing performances.
Yeah, not all movies are Citizen Kane or trying to be Citizen Kane or trying to be about writing Citizen Kane.
Exactly. So the first thing I've written down is I love how Missy is marrying her way through the family.
that for me, I was like the perfect opening. I've just written down fantastic opening Missy because and it brings you back into Bill the way we know Bill. Bill's just sort of he's got a really warped way of understanding the world.
Yeah.
But it completely makes sense to us and him explaining how Missy's been related to him and Ted and how he's related to Ted throughout the whole of the history of since the last time we saw him is amazing.
Because I don't know if I can't remember what it is, but it's kind of like that makes Bill his own uncle, like Bill's dad his own nephew or something.
I think Bill's dad's his own son or something, is he? Because he's marrying Bill's. Yeah. It's bonkers. It's brilliant, but that sets the tone, though, doesn't it? That lets you know that this is silly.
Yeah.
Come in, sit down, have a drink, enjoy the food. But this is what you're in for, and it's perfect. You know, he gets into that, and you've got those two after all these years stood next to each other, and they're exactly the same. And you may not want them to be exactly the same because this is a reboot, remakey, re-thingy. Rehash. It's a sequel, and no, it's an actual sequel, isn't it? It's not a continuation. Yeah.
One thing I've written down is I was going to mention it a bit later, but part of it's kind of you're thinking, it's a bit sad. These two guys that haven't grown up, they're still in this deluded sort of thing. They're both in their 40s or whatever they are now, and it's kind of like, oh man, you know. But in real life, you'd be worried, and you'd be like, you know, I wish you kind of grew up a little bit and stopped calling each other dude and stuff like that. But then, if that didn't happen in this film, I'd have been thoroughly disappointed. If they were anything different, if they were grown up, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, because you don't want to see them in offices, do you? You know, like depressed about their jobs, and then, you know, Ted jumps out of a window because he's just worrying about stocks. You know, it just wouldn't work. And that, I think, is what this new sort of generation of remakes has kind of got right. Or you know, sequels or whatever, you know, your Cobra Kai's and this, and I can't think of anything else, but...
Sequels 20 years in the making.
Yeah, they just bring the characters back, and they say, right, this is what you loved about them, so we're not going to change that. We are going to move things on a bit, we're going to tell a slightly different story, but we're still going to stick to what we loved about it.
And I think that's what this film nailed. And I like, because at the end of the second one, you assume that little Bill and little Ted are boys. And I love how this film's kind of like, well, we're going to make them girls, but it's still going to work.
Yeah.
Ted's dad mentions, like, you're not grown up, you're still living in this fantasy. You even called your daughters Little Bill and Ted for a while. I like how he dropped that in for a while.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted, because I took the time to write it down, so I want to, the song they play at the wedding right at the start.
Yeah.
I say song. And
I liked it.
It's called That Which Binds Us Through Time, the Chemical, Physical and Biological Nature of Love, an Exploration of the Meaning of Meaning. Part 1.
Was it not part 1 to 3 or something? I'm sure they were going to make you listen to part, but they did say part 1 at the end. But it was like parts 1 to 3 or something as well. Yeah. It's brilliant. So I won't go into too many sort of like specifics about the film, like spoilers in any way. But it was so refreshing just to see them back, and you know, it takes like everything that I liked about the first film and everything that I liked about the second film, and just smushes it all up into one sort of nice, lovely ball of silliness. Because it is silly.
When I watched it, I read some of the customer reviews.
Yeah.
People are saying, "Oh, this is just too silly. They've ruined it. it wasn't what Bill and Ted is. And I'm like, have you watched the first two Bill and Teds? It's about two sort of stoner rockers who go back in time, and then the second one they go to heaven and hell. It's just like, it's not meant to be a serious film. If it was anything but silly, it wouldn't have been Bill and Ted.
I know. Can we get out of non-spoilers and go into spoilers quite quickly? Can we wrap it up and just talk about it? So my general feelings: if you love this film, if you love Bill and Ted, you might love this film. If you've moved on and your sense of humour maybe isn't the same as it was the last time you watched Bill and Ted, maybe you won't like it. But give it a go, because it's definitely worth a go. It's definitely worth a bash, I'd say.
It is just fun.
Oh yeah.
Without being like trying to get too serious, we all need a laugh at the minute. So watch some silly films, and if you fancy a silly film, sometimes you might laugh because it's funny. Sometimes you might laugh because it's a bit cringy. Sometimes you might have one of those laughs that say, "That's not funny," so I'm just going to laugh, just because I think I should. Then this is the film for you. Because there is bits that just like, oh come on now. But what else do you want from a Bill and Ted film?
Exactly. I mean, I've got one negative which I'll mention in non-spoilers, which is Billy. I thought she was way too much like a Ted caricature, and I love that actor. I think she's amazing. Well, they're amazing.
Well, I've put the characters, the daughters were spot on, not copying, but they were recognisable. But I get what you mean. She was maybe a little too Tedish. I
thought Samara Weaving absolutely nailed she's Ted, but she's called Ted, but she's Bill. She's Bill's daughter, isn't she? Yeah. It's so confusing. But yeah, I thought she nailed that, and I just thought Bridget Lundy Payne was just too over the top. It just felt like it was the movement more than anything else. The actual voice, and it was the physicality of her performance. That was the only thing I didn't really enjoy. And I think she's a fantastic actor, but yeah, didn't quite gel for me. Budget was 25 million, and it made 38.2 million. So we're probably not going to see another one of these. So we might as well enjoy this one.
Did it not get it got released was it not just as the first sort of pandemic kicked in?
Yeah.
So yeah,
aye. It's released in lockdown.
Yeah, so that'll be.
So yeah. So anything else for non-spoilers, or are we into spoilers?
I think we need to just go right. Well, one thing is it a spoiler? Let's just go just in case. I don't think it is, but let's just jump into spoilers.
Let's just say right for non-spoilers, everybody watch this. If you like Bill and Ted, watch this. And if you're here listening to a podcast where we said we're going to tell you about Bill and Ted, then watch this. Yeah. and listen to this.
Yeah. And treat yourselves and do a full trilogy.
So spoilers now. If you haven't seen this film, go away, watch it, come back. If you don't care about spoilers, carry on listening.
Don't have a go at us when you say, "Oh, you spoiled it," because
absolutely, because we told you. Fair warned, all in, fair warned. Spoilers as from now. Dennis Caleb McCoy,
character in the film. I don't care what you say. Fight me. He needs his own spin-off.
And I wrote it down. My favourite line was when Bill turns around and goes, "Okay, dude, we get it. You're grateful a somehow dead robot named Dennis Caleb McCoy." Come on.
Oh, man.
And then he starts apologising on that cliff top as well. It's just like, "I'm really sorry." And it's just, Alex Winter absolutely nails this film.
Oh, he does.
Everything he does, like his facial expressions when Dennis Caleb McCoy is trying to apologise to everyone, are amazing. The other thing I noticed about Alex Winter on the second watch through as well was when he's doing the British accent.
Well, I've written down here because I said Dennis Caleb McCoy needs his own spin-off, but I think Posh Bill and Ted need one too. Even though they're technically...
It's when they go back... It's when they're taking off the makeup and stuff and normal Bill and Ted come through and... Yeah, why haven't you taken the song back to the past? He's just flouncing around.
Oh man, I love it. I go on the top flamboyant he is as well. It's brilliant. Because that's one thing I've written down. But this is me like looking at it too deeply. Because the posh like English Bill and Ted say they went back to the medieval times to hide out or to live or whatever. But if that was the case, it would have been speaking French. But this is a Bill and Ted film. We're not looking for historical accuracies. So that's fine.
There is absolutely no accuracy in anything with this. There's just... That makes no sense. I was thinking about it and I was like, if you try and understand the the time travel in this, you will get a headache, you'll go blind, you'll pass out, and you'll wake up in the future and possibly a different dimension, because it just doesn't. It's great at the beginning, like because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah. And the one thing I remember from the original ones is that the clock is always running in San Dimas,
right? Yeah,
which makes absolutely no sense. Because that's why they're on a time scale. Like, we've only got 7 minutes to sort this out. Yeah. But you have a time machine. I love that about Bill and Ted. Like, they've only got like so many hours to sort this out, but they have a time machine.
Well, because that's the thing I was confused by. I think because I was writing it down, but then I think I figured out I answered my own question. Because I've put down here like
what's that?
It keeps in the daughters are 24, but then from now till when the kids were introduced in 1991, that's 29 years. So I was thinking, what's happened there? Then they said they played at the Grand Canyon 25 years ago, before the daughters were born, before they were successful, they sold out the Grand Canyon. I was very confused. But then, in the second one, they jumped 6 years in the future to learn how to play instruments. Then they bring their daughters back, but the daughters are like 1 or 2, and I was getting really confused. And then I wrote, well, it doesn't matter.
I can't believe you actually tried to put a timeline together for Bill and Ted.
I just wanted to know why they're saying the daughters are 24 when they're not, they're 29. But then they jumped into the future and then they came back with kids, so that made sense. But honestly,
they even address it when they go into like the path. They even address it. They're like, how? What the hell was I going to say there? I'm completely lost.
Something about the timeline.
Carry on. What are you going to say?
I don't know.
No. They address it with like when they go, oh, let's do something that we can't predict, and then they put buckets on their heads and start running around. They're like, oh no, they're doing the thing so that we can't follow them. It's like they just ran off straight in front of you.
That's a bit one thing about that. And in that house, it's Dave Grohl's house. And then
Dave Grohl's in this.
Yeah, but then one thing that got me as well, again, it doesn't matter because it's a Bill and Ted film, but it's like he opens the door and they go, Dave Grohl, and he goes, who are you? Well, we were told they had a massive successful career. He didn't know who they were. They were probably his inspiration. How did he not know who they were?
But however, I can make sense of that. Not that we really need to, because it's a Bill and Ted film and nothing makes sense. But at the end, it's a multi-dimensional film as well, so maybe that was Dave Grohl from a universe where Bill and Ted don't exist.
Yeah, that's a point.
Look at that. I've logicked my way around it.
Oh, man.
Clock is always running in San Dimas. That's the most important thing to remember.
Oh, honestly.
I really...
Go.
You go.
Oh, hey. You
go. No, you hang up. No, I was going to say that, what's his name? The trumpet player, Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
Him and Jimi Hendrix try and make sense of it when they're outside Mozart's house. Sat there going, he goes, so wait a minute, you're trying to write a song for the future that's actually in the past. But to save the future. So you've come from our future into my present, which is your past. And we're now all in this past, which is actually our present, to get someone from the past, which is this present, to take to the future to write this song. It's like, wow.
Honestly, it's genius. And even that alone, you just said there, Jimi Hendrix and Louis Armstrong go to get Mozart. It sounds like the start of a joke.
I loved that. I think was my favourite part of the film when they were outside Mozart's house and Jimi Hendrix starts playing Mozart on the guitar. That really reminded me of. Do you remember Canon Rock from years ago? I loved it. Everyone with a guitar was all over when YouTube first started. I think, wasn't it? It was all over the internet.
I think I downloaded that onto my phone just because it was back in the day.
I loved that bit, and I kept watching. On the second run through, because I've watched it twice now, once whilst writing the notes for this, because I just loved it so much. But I was just thinking, this must have been really difficult to perform, because you can see that therapy scene with Gillian Bell, she's amazing in that scene, and in those scenes. The therapy scene was just perfect. It just brings you back into Bill and Ted, doesn't it?
It's like, we both love you. Whatever was it you said?
We love you.
To your wives. And he's like, no, he's like, I think you've misunderstood, and then he goes to do it, but just says the same thing, but in a different order.
yeah. I think I'm going to try one. Yeah, I and Ted love you and Joanna.
You know what's great about that, right? Like, they're both, like, people say what you want about Keanu Reeves, right? A lot of his the dark and brooding sort of quiet characters, and Ted always seems so like off, completely different to other things I've seen him in, and he totally brought it back. And you can tell he was just an older Ted, and he was a bit slower, but he was still the essence of Ted. But Alex Winter, especially like old Bill, in the old folks home, the pair of them. In a silly film, those performances were amazing.
They were. Like, I've never seen Alex Winter in anything else, I don't think. He might have popped up in like a sitcom or something, but...
I don't know if I might be thinking about somebody else, but I'm sure I read that he stepped away from acting to go behind the camera.
Yeah, I thought I had something like that as well.
This is the first thing he's been in since like 1993 or 4.
Right. But he's so good.
Oh, he's amazing. Because he was a bit more Bill than Keanu Reeves was Ted. Because Keanu Reeves, he was Ted again. But this was Ted that was older a bit. But this was still like Bill. I think it's just pretty much the same. In a good way. In all the good ways. But the old Usses. I love how they brought Usses back. Because I had the evil robot Usses.
The good robot Usses and the evil robot Usses.
And then they've got the past Usses, the future Usses, the other Usses.
I don't like these Usses.
Yeah. And I love how Ted was battling with all of his Usses. Ted just had a conflict with himself all the time. He didn't know why. He has
performance anxiety in front of himself as well. In front of his older self. It's like...
And I love how Bill's like, I like that other me, but the other me's a dick.
It's really good. I loved as well. I didn't notice it the first time through, but I did love the second time through how every time they meet up with a new us, that they get the song. Like, they solve it. They actually get the song from that. One of them gives them the song. Like, the British Bill and Ted give them the song. And, like, the prison Bill and Ted, they've written the song with all the inmates. I mean, it's not a song. I really loved, like, the hell stuff as well.
I loved Death's intro. And I couldn't remember when Death came into it. Because I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but I noticed it the second time. It's when Ted's dad gets shot by Dennis Caleb McCoy, and he's going down to hell. And he looks to his left or right, and Death's just floating there. It's pretty
I love the fact that Death's been demoted as well because he helped his friends out.
Oh man! And I love how Death became a diva, and he was doing it for 40 minute bass solos.
40 minutes, too pale to cry.
Oh man, I want him to release an album of Death songs, just like Death's bass riffs. Oh man,
that would be amazing. Death is just they just use him so well in this because when they look through to him as well, and he's playing all these games by himself, like practice. By himself, he's just trying to, like, in case they challenge him. It's just what I loved about all this is just like it just gives you everything that you loved from the other two films, and not in like it's fan service in the best way. You know, there's a lot of this going around with like other films, like your Star Warses and Marvel films and things like that, and people can play down fan service, but this is fan service in its most beautiful and precious form, and we want to keep this alive wherever we can.
There's fan service where they're expecting to see this person or for this to happen, and it's done in a way that's too on the nose. It's like, look, we did that. Do you remember that? That's that. But this film is like, you want Bill and Ted? You've got Bill and Ted. It's not sort of like, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? They'll touch on things. Because on the end of Bill and Ted 2, because I watched the other two the other week to go like back a bit, at the end of the second one, it's like they perform on the moon. But in this one, when everyone's kind of dropping out of time and going all over the place, there's an astronaut knocks on the window. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
It's not totally obvious, because I never thought about that until the second, because I watched it, then I went back and watched the other two. They went and played on the moon. That's subtle. I don't know if that was intentional, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it was when Death came into it, it was just like, I love how they went into this whole other backstory about you did this and you did that and you left chucked me out of the band. And it's like, because he was getting too much of a diva. Death was being a diva. and he just like was it 40 minute
40-minute bass solos, yeah. Those were the best parts of the show. That's the only reason people came to see it. I was Wild Stallions. So good.
It's a silly film, but when they sort of bury the hatchet and they have like a group hug, you're like, oh, you're happy for them.
And Dennis is just tailing death around as well, like Dennis Caleb McCoy. It's like, you go over there and dance, Dennis.
When I first watched it, right, I don't know if I said, was it you? No, I think it was my brother. I sent him a message just saying, watch the new Bill and Ted. All I'm going to say is Dennis Caleb McCoy. And I don't think he replied.
That'll make me laugh forever now, those 3 words, those Dennis Caleb McCoy. You could say that to me at any point and I'll just burst out laughing and spit beer all over your face.
Because there's a bit of one of his quotes as well, is when they're all in hell and they decide, right, we need to go up. So they get into Ted's dad's police van. That's like, let's rock. And then they're shooting up to Earth. And Dennis says, it's cool when you said let's rock because it made me want to rock. But it's his delivery. It's just so like, because he's this scary, like, massive robot that can, like, just pop into time and that. And he's like,
laser death machine.
Yeah, and he's got this proper scary robot voice. And then all of a sudden he's like, my name is Dennis. Dennis McCoy.
Dennis Caleb McCoy. Dennis McCoy. Yeah. Well, it's actually Dennis Caleb McCoy. That's my full. I love that they managed to get George Carlin into it as well. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I put is like, maybe not a negative, but a nitpick. I'm like, oh, well, does the new future person have to be his daughter? But then it's kind of like, but then I remembered, because he mentions his daughter, I think, in one of the other ones. The daughter's name in this is Kelly. I don't think I wrote it down. But that's his daughter's real name in real life.
All right, okay.
So I think that's why. Yeah,
I mean, because in a film where they've got time machines, they could have gone to see Rufus at any time. Because he exists in time. You know, so it's I actually thought when they were making it, I was like, how are they going to get around not having Rufus in it? Because he was my favourite character in the cartoon as well, Rufus.
Well, you know what it is? I can't remember a lot of the cartoon. I've watched it obviously when I was younger, but I can't remember, like. But that's another, because I was thinking the other day, like, all the stuff that they said that probably happened in the cartoon that they said happened at the end of the second one. They never touch on any of it, because you think by now all the stuff that they said they did at the end of the second one, they would have done by now, but they haven't. But what I've written down is I love, like, what they're meant to do. The daughters are doing what they should be doing.
Yeah, aye.
Their mission is to write this song that will unite the world and put balance to the universe and all that kind of stuff. So they go around looking for the song, but the daughters are trying to make the song. Yeah. But I remember when I watched the trailer, how they kept saying, like, oh, you know, the song played by Preston and Logan. They never said Bill and Ted. Yeah. And I was like, even when I watched the trailers, it's going to be the daughters, but I like that. That doesn't bother me. And that's cool. But then I can't remember, even though I watched the second and first one, did they say, does Rufus say the song, like Bill and Ted?
No, it's Wild Stallions. I'm pretty sure it's always Wild Stallions. Yeah. But then it is Wild Stallions and Bill and Ted are wild. I mean, it could have been Death. Imagine that if it was Death who wrote the song that united everyone. That'd have been great.
Too pale to cry and change the world. Save the universe.
Yeah, I do like that. The thing I liked about it as well, like, because you was just saying about the daughters going back, I felt like, again, in the way that they were giving you everything you loved from Bill and Ted films, the daughters seemed to be doing the first film stuff, Excellent Adventure, and Bill and Ted were doing a bit of Bogus Journey and a bit of Excellent Adventure as well, so I just thought it, and it was sort of just flipping back between the two, and it just, it was so much fun. I think this might be my favourite one. This could be my favourite Bill and Ted film.
I was trying to think, right, because I don't tend to do that because it just, it gives me a headache. If I like it, I like it. But for me, I was sitting there when I watched that one. I'm going to have to go back and watch the other two. So I watched them, and then I was like, you know what? I was like, at the time, I was thinking, I think from favourite to least favourite, even though I love all three, like it goes 1, 3, 2. But then when I watched it again the other night, I was thinking that as well. I was like, am I okay to say it? I think this might be my favourite one. I feel like I might be being a bit unfaithful to the first one. But
Bogus Journey was my favourite, but like I think it always has been. But I haven't watched it recently. I'm going to have to get the VHS out.
Well, I had to buy one of them. The other one was on TV, so I watched it. But I think Bogus Journey was the first one I watched.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I saw the first one, I thought it was the second one. I was very confused by the situation. But I remember being scared of Bogus Journey.
Oh, Bogus Journey was it's really scary. I mean, the hell bits in that are really scary. This hell is just they're just welcome there, and everyone. I like how everyone goes to hell, like Mozart, Louis Armstrong. Just everyone just immediately goes to hell. There doesn't seem to be a heaven in this. Oh, there was in Bogus Journey, wasn't there? but no one goes to heaven anymore. Like it's just that everyone just gets rid of hell. But hell's where you want to be anyway, because death's cool. He's a good guy.
You want death as a friend.
I also the one thing that I actually I looked up, which I thought was weird, was Ling Lun.
I looked her up as well.
I was like, who is that? Like, what? I just assumed the caveman was a caveman, because by the time you get to that stage, it's ridiculous. But yeah, Ling Lun, the founder of, commonly known as the founder of Chinese music, but no one knows whether or not that's a male or a female person.
But what I could get from her, I had to look her up. I think it's sort of like, apart from like the Robin from the Rich to give to the poor, like she's sort of like a Robin Hood kind of. That no one knows if, like you said, if it was a he or a she, or if they actually existed.
Yeah,
they don't know how much of a truth is in it. It's like kind of like a Mulan sort of figure. But because I had to do that. I didn't look up the cave woman or caveman, because you know that's just made up character. But what I love, because I'm not like a massive fan of modern music and pop culture, and I'm not. So, but I loved how Kid Cudi. I've heard.
I had to look up Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi and Ling Lun are the two people that I didn't know for that film. So, guess our ages, kids.
Yeah, I'd heard the name, but like I've not like I don't know anything about him. But I love how he's just like genius physicist sort of. Like,
I actually listened to.
Excuse me, Mr. Kid Cudi, and like they're asking him to like.
I listened to what he said the second time through, and I'm like, that's just nonsense. It's just more nonsense. It's just words that sound vaguely quantum sciencey and stuff like that, or physicky. It's just like, excuse me, Kid Cudi, I don't mean to step in, but we've only got 4 minutes to save the world.
Yeah.
I love how Ted becomes an eternal being. There's probably loads I'm missing out here, because I just love this film. And I can't get beyond that. I can't get beyond my excitement for this film to really sort of articulate what it is that I want to say about it. But it's beautiful.
Yeah. Just watch it. One thing I will say, and again, you'll probably know this, but I just thought I'd kind of sound a bit fun. So, what's the one thing that these 6 people have in common? You might know where I'm going with this. So, what is the one thing that Kimberly Cates, Diane Franklin, Annette Ascoy, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Sarah Trigger, Jayma Mays, and Erin Hayes have in common?
Keanu Reeves has fucked them all? I don't even know who they are.
They are the princesses.
Oh, they are, right?
The princesses were played. They were played.
Right.
Different women.
Right enough, they were, right? They were playing different women first and second, yeah. I didn't even pick up on that. Death is played by the same person, isn't he? Or is that...
Death, I've written Death's name. What's his real name? Sadler?
Oh, I forget now. Yeah, William Sadler. Yeah.
Because I know the actress Jayma Mays. I know her. She's been in a few things I've seen. And I was like, she wasn't in the others. Was she? So I went back. I was like, oh no, she wasn't in the first one. And then something else happened, and I read a bit of trivia, and I was like, every film they were different. Every single film they were different. And I mean, no disrespect, but I haven't really heard of any of them apart from Jayma Mays. I'm not really familiar with any of them.
I don't know. The other thing I was going to mention is, well, you said that there was a slight historical blip that made you sort of step and go, that's not right. The thing that took me out of it was every time anyone's playing an instrument. No one's playing any of those instruments on the screen, but that's fine. You just have to suspend your disbelief, because it's so good.
Definitely. But even like silly things, because I always thought Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter look believable. And I don't know about Alex Winter. I don't know. I'm sure Keanu Reeves is in a band, or he was in a band, or he does music. I don't know what he plays.
He does play, yeah. I think he plays bass. Does he not, Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, but he looked believable. So like I thought he always did.
Yeah, he wasn't though at the end, like at the end scene. Yeah, I know it was when the old Bills and Teds when they do that. Oh, the end credit scene. Did you see that? You did see that, didn't you? You stayed to the end of the credits, didn't you?
Oh, I think I might have missed the end credit scene.
Oh, there's an end credit scene, Sean. Oh, good job we're in spoilers, but yeah, there's an end credit scene. Oh, you come in here trying to review films and you haven't even seen the whole film.
Well, I have. Let's be honest. If it was meant to be in the film, it would have been in the film.
Aye, it comes before the credits. It's meant to be in the film.
Iron Man in it. What's it called?
I let the credits roll. No. I'm saying if it's meant to be in the film, it comes before the credits. Aye, yeah, you are right. Yeah. That is the film. Cool.
We'll have to watch that.
Anything else, or should we?
I've got a couple of bits of trivia.
Okay.
I looked for loads of trivia, but I couldn't really find it. I've lost it. Where are they? Oh, there we go.
Like I say, I just finished watching this before I rang you to hang up. So.
Well, there's only 2 bits. I mean, they're not like trivia. There's not a lot of trivia. It's just more kind of like, oh, cool. So when they're told in the film that they've got 77 minutes to save the universe, there's 77 minutes left of runtime.
Yep, I noticed that.
So it plays in. And Samara Weaving, who plays
Thea.
Yeah, she is Hugo Weaving's niece. And Hugo Weaving was in The Matrix with Keanu Reeves. And apparently that's not how she got the role, but that kind of, like...
Greased the doors, did it?
Yeah, it sort of like ingratiated her into Keanu Reeves. Is sort of like, oh, yeah, I know your uncle. I've worked with your uncle.
I really hope that he phoned him up and said, Mr. Anderson.
You have 2 choices. You pass my niece, or you don't.
Nice.
Right, well, that was Bill and Ted's face.
That's Bill and Ted. I've only got one more thing. Like, I was going to ask you, because of all these things that are coming out, you got Bill and Ted, and it's, this current spate of reboots that we've got going on, not reboot sequels. What other franchise would you want to see given this treatment from your childhood, or is there anything?
Ooh.
Because we've had Cobra Kai, we've got this.
Yeah.
What else do we want?
Both working. There's going to be another, like a continuation of the Ghostbusters.
Right.
That was meant to come out last year, I think.
Yeah. Kevin Smith is he is currently working on Masters of the Universe for Netflix as well.
Ooh.
It's a series live action. I think it is live action. Oh no, animated series for Netflix. I think it is. So yeah, there's that.
I don't know, because I know there's a film that I love. I think it's the 80s. Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, I love that film. That would be cool now.
I think
it'd be so cheap as well. It'd all be green screen CGI. Just put them in a room, work on a volume.
Because even back then the effects were amazing. Because I'm always for the mind of, like, I don't think any film can be remade, but I don't mind remakes.
No,
I can. It doesn't bother me. If they're rubbish, they're rubbish. It's fine. But I think that's one film that they could remake, because I love it. You said you love it. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it. When I mention it to people, not many people know it.
There was a lot of films of that ilk around about that time. Like, so your Short Circuits, Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, there's that. I would love to see a continuation of Neverending Story. I even loved the second Neverending Story.
Do you know what? I've watched the first one maybe once in my entire life.
Really?
That's it.
Oh, Atreyu! Falcor! If you didn't cry at that, you're dead inside. Like, they actually lowered a horse into a pit. I think they may have killed him.
I think that's why I haven't watched it much, because I did not like that. I hate that scene.
Gamork traumatized my childhood. Just from the cave, I used to. That was the devil under my bed. That's what that was. So I'd love to see that. And Bravestar as a cartoon, Bravestar. I want Bravestar back in my life.
I don't know if I know.
Check it out. Check out Bravestar. That's not a trade off for a tip, but give yourself a treat. He's got a sentient talking horse. So Bravestar, he's a space cowboy, and his horse stands on 2 legs and talks to him, and it's great. And he's got different methods. He can do speed of it, strength of a bear, and all that.
Going back to I've just had a thought. Go back to your question. I honestly think a continuation of the Goonies could work.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on how they do it, but
I'm going to drop another controversial thing. I don't really like the Goonies all that much.
I love the Goonies. Absolutely love it. I think I absolutely love the Goonies. There's films where I'm like, I wonder what those characters could be doing now.
As much as like I think Goonies is, I didn't mind it. It's an okay film, and I would watch it to stay up on a Sunday night because it was always on a Sunday night before you had to go back to school.
It used to always be on Channel 5.
But I would definitely want to see Thanos coming back in that, and Samwise.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that when you get those two back in Goonies?
Oh,
yeah, I'm with you now. I'm in.
I'm trying to think what the others have been in, but not not to the success of those. Chunk's a lawyer, apparently.
Yes, he is. But yeah, Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's not the greatest film in the world. It is just a tribute, but it's brilliant.
What you said last week about Speed 2, how it's a decent action film at sea sort of thing, but it's a bad Speed sequel.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the opposite of this one. This isn't an amazing film, but it's a brilliant Bill and Ted.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it then. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Right. Watch it.
Get it watched.
Aye. Well, you've watched it already because we've just been speaking spoilers. Next section. Next section, welcome to the TV series review section where me and Sean review 2 episodes of a TV series every week. And this, we've decided to start on Snowpiercer. We did episodes 1 and 2 last week, so if you haven't watched those or heard our review of those, go back and listen to that. And we're going to go on to episodes 2 and 3, all spoilers from the off. So if you haven't seen these 2 episodes, go away and watch them. Or if you don't care about spoilers, carry on, come back, listen to this. So episodes 2 and 3. Episode 3, Access is Power. And then episode 4, Without Their Maker.
I love how ominous the titles sound for Snow.
I didn't notice the actual titles of them. I had a thought whilst going through episode 3. And I thought, I wonder what this is called. Turned out nothing to do with the thought I was having, so... So what I'm going to try and do, we thought it would be a laugh because I tried it last week and it went all kinds of horribly wrong. I'll try to do a rapid refresh without unplanned and with no real notes, and it kind of went off the rails a bit. So, Sean, take 2 minutes, you reckon?
Yes.
Klaxon me when I get 2 minutes and tell me when to go, and I'm going to recap episode 3. Here we go.
Right. Are you ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, go.
So it starts off with Dr. Fingers doing a monologue about access and trade. Then there's a flashback to ring bearer Leighton, and he's saying goodbye to what I call Jin Erso, but she's definitely called Josie. There's a team briefing up the top of the train, and Churchill gets a mention. Good morning, Leighton, and the drugs and paracetamol BJ pay off. It's sexy time. At the top of the train with the Sea Life Centre lady who's called Jinju and Don't Cross Melanie. The BJ boy runs to his dealer straight away after being confronted by the copper and Leighton. It's a sexy casino distraction for everyone in the Spokes family for first to having another whinge at Melanie, possibly Ruth. There's a heart-to-heart with the copper and Leighton, and there's over an apple slice. Speaking to the fingers, speaking to the zombie, and Dr. Fingers is Walter White somehow because he's managed to... get himself some drug trade. Hello, Miles. He's in the primary school physics class. There's trouble in the tail. Melanie is editing the Wilford podcast. And you've got Sean Bean as the voice, potentially. There's a wedding ring. That's a trade back. The zombie's awake and wants to party. Fight! 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 Everyone's fighting. And we meet the janitor who's called Terence and not Terry. There's a kissy little... There's a kissy scanner trick with Josie. And the private security zombie killer is a shocker ending. Is that 2 minutes?
Oh, hey.
What was that?
That wasn't even 2 minutes.
No?
A minute and 30.
I'm not entirely sure it made sense, but that was episode 3. Did I miss anything?
It did to me, but I watched it. So you know what it is, right? Again, this isn't going to make sense to people listening, but I watched both episodes twice this week because I was thinking, well, last week I was just getting into it. I wasn't a bit sure if I was getting it, and there was bits I couldn't remember. So I want to watch it twice, both episodes twice, and I did. And I've sat down, I made notes for everything. And there, obviously, no one can see this, but there's my Snowpiercer notes. I forgot to write them down. So, but yes, that is pretty much that is it. That is it in a minute and 30 seconds. I said at the end of last week, obviously I was going to watch it for this, but I wasn't. I was liking it, but it wasn't really making me want to watch it.
I think that I was thinking that after you said that last week, it came out week to week when it actually came out. There was an episode every week, so I don't know if that made a difference to you at all. Or...
Well, I that's to me that's how I like to watch things, because I like to be excited by it. But with this one, I'm wishing that we that we were reviewing the whole series as a whole, because I want to keep watching. But I don't. So it's got me now. But I don't want to watch it a week in advance before.
Because you need to be fresh for the podcast, and podcasting is life, Sean. So
it is. That's what it is. So yeah, but I'm loving it. I'm loving obviously I don't know how it's going to go now, because so far I'm loving the sort of murder mystery whodunit sort of aspect of it.
Yeah.
And everything else that's going on in between. And I did love that heart-to-heart between the main copper and Leighton over an apple slice, like you said. Because I love he's like, oh, you're married or kids? He's like, are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
like
have
that.
some apple.
And I like how he's slowly getting the respect from the other people. Leighton, he's getting that.
Yeah.
I think, I can't remember her name. Is it Till?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can tell she's...
I know the actor's name, Mickey Sumner as the actor's name. Yeah.
Yeah. She's kind of all for him. She knows what he's about. She's on his side pretty much now.
So are you liking any of the characters yet? Because I know last week you were kind of struggling to glob on anyone.
I was struggling to find out. Yeah, I still, obviously, because you're not meant to, but I don't like any of the, let's call them the poshies, like the first class. They're horrible people. They're just
they
horrible. Are. And but what I like, and again, is this? Yeah, the fights in this episode. So I love how they've got this perception of the tail as like the scum that are like hanging around, and they're not real people. They should be thought of as really low, sort of like scumbags.
I think Till even refers to Leighton as it in the episode.
Yeah. And there's just no respect for them, and all because they snuck on their stowaways. But then the first class are animals, like literally animals. They've reverted to this sort of like vultures fighting over a carcass. Like the fight, and they're not just sitting there enjoying the fight like people today just enjoy like a boxing match or wrestling. They're getting up.
Aye.
They're proper like foaming at the mouth of this fight.
Aye.
And they're like they're reveling in the chaos. And when it breaks into like this proper stage fight between these two people, breaks into a riot.
And they're still loving it. They're just dancing up around.
Yeah, and they're like laughing, and the lass is chucking glasses down to land on someone's head. I don't know why she did that. And I'm like, you guys are bastards. But then there is other people who I'm slowly warming towards. Obviously, the blowjob king. Again, I think he's just a young lad.
I hate him. I want him to just get thrown under the train.
I think he's a young lad that's a bit lost.
You do make a point, yeah.
But then again, I'm liking how I don't know how to feel about Melanie.
Yeah,
and I think that's the point. I don't know, because it's some bitch like, yeah, she's on his side. She knows he's right. And another bitch like, she's just playing him, and like, you don't know how to feel about her. And that's how I think that's how
I think it is, and you kind of don't really know what's happened to Mr. Wilford, or why she's doing what she's doing. Like, has she offed him? Or has she been left in the situation where Mr. Wilford's just done one? And she's like, well, all right, I'll take control. There was one thing... Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, because you were right, how she's editing the Wilford podcast. I like how you referred to that.
She was the one. She was
the message.
Oh, that's how I imagine you. I imagine you all dolled up, ready to go to fight night, editing this.
Sitting there in my dress. That's exactly how it was.
Applying your lipstick as you head out for the night. Oh no, you can't. Can you?
Yeah. I can apply my lipstick, but I can't go anywhere. That's just from.
I do like that with Melanie. There was something in the next episode as well that I was thinking about. That I'll come back to when we get to that. The one thing I was thinking of as well is this the only series in the world where Sean Bean starts off dead and comes to life.
Well, that's the thing, because obviously, like, obviously I know his voice is there. It's his voice. It is. It's him. I don't think there's anybody else.
Definitely is his voice, isn't it?
Yeah. The people and I've looked into it, so I don't know what happens because I haven't watched it, but I know like the gist of who's in it and who's not. But that's going into later episodes, maybe later series.
Yeah.
But no, it's like it's him. They might as well use James Earl Jones. Like he's got. I know he's where's he from? Sean B. He's like, yeah, he's from Leeds. Is it Leeds or Yorkshire? He's from that region anyway, somewhere there.
You've just offended the entire middle part of England there, Sean.
Yeah.
He's from Leeds or Yorkshire or somewhere like that, so like London probably.
I don't know. But even though he's got like a recognisable accent, it's still a very distinct voice.
Yeah. Aye.
At the same time, so you know it's him. But then Jennifer Connelly looks nothing like him. So I don't know what's going on with this.
It is confusing. A question I was going to have for you as well is, you've got children. I don't, so I'd probably never spend as much time around a child as you have. If someone was to cut their hair and then put it in a bag, and then you were to walk into a room a few days later, would you be able to pick up that bag and go, that's their hair?
I don't think I would. And I questioned that. But then the second time I watched it, I said to myself, right, I need to go back and see, has it got his name on it or something?
All right. It hasn't. Oh.
It hasn't, right? Because I just assumed maybe...
No, this is Miles's hair. What's happened to Miles's hair? I suppose, maybe there's only a few people that it could be out of the diversity on the train things, maybe, I suppose.
Yeah, because I was just thinking as well, like, maybe there was a tag on a tray saying, like, Taily children.
Yeah. But Leighton doesn't know who else is on the train.
Yeah.
Maybe there is another kid who's got that exact hair.
Yeah.
Leighton.
But then do all the Tailys kind of know each other? They seem to be quite a tight-knit group, so maybe he just knows there was no other children that fit that description or had that type of...
Did you also notice that there's a janitor references High Rise, which was a film that came out at the same time as Snowpiercer, and it was basically Snowpiercer, but it had Tom Hiddleston in it, and it was a high rise, and he was like, it's just like High Rise, but it's a train and it's on its side. And I'm like, oh, but High Rise was just like Snowpiercer, but it was upright.
See, I remember, again, I've not seen that film. I remember it when it came out, but I imagine kind of that's what it was about. But I never got that reference. I never got that. But I love that janitor. I love how he's like, it's Terrence.
I know. I think for the sake of this podcast, I'll be calling him Terry from now on, by the way. That's what I'll be referring to him as Terry. Absolutely, every time. The other thing I've noticed as well is it sort of like remind me a little bit of Isaac Asimov when they were sort of replacing colloquialisms with train references. So there was a few that popped up in this one, a few that popped up in the next one. So, I swear on the train. I'll get you. I swear on the train. And the train will provide. That's one of Ruth. I hate her. Ruth's.
Oh, I can't stand
the train. Thing is, she's not that bad. She's not a terrible a person. She's just a company man. That's all it is. She's just...
The other things that I watch, the characters that I don't like is the people who sort of like act knowingly stupidly out of fear or out of worrying how it'll look on them. I don't know if we've heard anything about her yet. I don't think we have. I wouldn't be surprised if she's come from nothing. She's metaphorically or maybe literally sucked her way to the top, and then like just
there is. I won't spoil anything for you, but there is an episode where you get her backstory later on. So I won't spoil anything for you, and I won't comment on what you've just said because I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Because to me, she's just like
survive. The engine will provide. That was terrible.
Oh man, it's just like, but she's just not a nice character at the minute. But every time she comes on screen, it's just like, oh, get off me, telly.
Anything else you liked about episode 3 before we move to 4? Because I've got one more thing about episode 3. But I don't want to fly on before.
Again, because we're doing these 2 episodes at the time, I can never remember which episode's which. Because one thing I have noticed, and again, maybe it's just because I'm watching them 2 at a time, but the first 2 episodes and the second 2 episodes are kind of one episode each. Each episode plays from the next, but
Yeah.
3 doesn't go into 3 as much.
Yeah, aye.
But 1 goes to 2 and 3 goes to 4 quite well.
Yeah, they sort of go in couplets, don't they? Aye. Yeah. And maybe that's just because that's how we're watching them. But I thought about this. I did think about this one as well. That this one, it's such a simple episode. Like, it's not complicated or bad. It's just they tell you up top. Dr. Fingers comes out and says, this episode is all about access and trade. And it literally is about passing something up a line and then back down a line again. And they wrap it up in such a nice, interesting web that I thought was really cool.
One thing that stood out for me in this one, and it happens again in the next one, is how they're sort of like, maybe not fully trusting Leighton, but they are kind of getting on his side.
Yeah.
And like how when they approach the young football lad, in like the head cop's like, here been, trading blowjobs for the drug.
Chronol.
And like slaps him across the head. Yeah. Slaps him across the head, and then it's like, then he sort of just fights back against Leighton, and the boss is like, sit yourself down. And he's kind of like,
and then Leighton slaps him across the head.
But so it's like, I like how that's developing.
Yeah.
And and it's just, I do like how it just stood out to me how much the first class is just like vultures and just animalistic, that fight, and that proper stood out to me.
How was the violence? I was going to say you love how violent, because I was watching that thinking, I'm not entirely sure how Sean's going to react to how violent this is.
I think because with the first episode, I just think it diluted a bit of what different violence stood out to me in the second one. Because like the second episode, the freezing, that type of violence stood out to me, and I think the blood and guts violence kind of diluted it a bit for me. But this one, not because I liked how just vicious that fight was, because it was self-contained, and it was just like putting a bare knuckle fight together.
And it was sort of like when the zombie turns up and she wants to party, it was bonkers. It just all seemed to kick off there. It's just like walks into the room and bang, there she is. It just
it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, I need Chronol. It's like, what's going on?
I did write down something that I thought was quite clever, but might not come across on podcast. I wrote down janitorial games, like gladiatorial games, but with janitors. But one thing I wanted to mention in this before we move on to episode 4 is I have a theory. And it won't spoil anything for the rest of the series. I checked, but I don't know anything about this. I haven't read anything about this. I don't know whether any of this comes to fruition or not. But is Wilford God? Are they all dead and there's train the afterlife?
Do you know what it is, right? Now that you've said that, it makes sense to me, and it makes sense even more because I'm going on to talk about something else. But I've recently watched Life on Mars and Ashes. Spoilers for them. But that's pretty much what you...
That's what that is, yeah. Maybe that's what planted the seed, because we did get on to talking about that last week, so maybe that's what planted the seed when that... But I was watching this one just thinking, this is very much like it's the afterlife. And Wilford is God, because he's not there, and everyone just believes in him.
It's omnipotent.
And they just take it on faith or whatever, but there's probably more evidence for Wilford, because you hear his voice every now and again. But then again, people might say they hear the voice of God as well, so there's that. But yeah, and I thought, like, because everyone's dead, everyone in the world is dead. So what if these are all just dead as well, and then this is the afterlife, and it turns out it was all a dream? But no, that's my theory is that Wilford's God, they're all dead, and this is the afterlife.
Obviously, it depends on how they play it, but I hope that's not the case. If they played it well and it worked out in the way they did it, it was amazing, and great.
I still prefer your theory of it being the Polar Express and they're on the way to see Santa.
That's probably just the dad side of me coming out there. It's a more wholesome, family friendly story.
I actually thought it was Jinju's Sea Life Centre. It's not actually hers, because I was like, she's only in second class. How does she get her own Sea Life Centre? It's not. She just deals with the food, I think. She's one of the scientists who look after the food. So.
She goes naked fishing.
That's it, aye. Yeah. That's what it is. Right, episode 4, rapid refresh.
Yes.
Ian, you got your timer?
Reset that, right? 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so we open on a Jinju monologue, and she's talking about adapt and survive, so a Darwinism theme going on for this episode. Nikki's dead, and now everyone knows. Dr. Fingers, Henry, is his name, is now crying. So maybe he's a nice guy now? Who knows? Okay, there's the killer in third, and there's some sort of train boarder. The hunt is on. The tailies are making a plan. There's a tailie shower, and Josie is on the move. And then Leighton gets dragged up to the train, and they do a sort of good cop, bad tailie thing. So Leighton's up in the top of the stage, and the boy is non-stop. So we've got Mr. Wilford, the phone call to Mr. Wilford, and his bluff is called. The train detective has rumbled Eric. Josie meets up with Astrid, and then has LJ been screwing the help? Maybe she has. Move on to that scene. Next scene, there is a close scrape for Josie making it back down to the tail after she's met up with Astrid. Eric is a fucking spider monkey. He's just bounding around third all over the place. And also, Eric, we find out in a later scene with LJ, is a vinyl and cat enthusiast, which makes me hate him more. LJ is spoiled, and Leighton accuses her of castration and blood. She tries to blackmail Leighton while she dances around. Eric's surrounded, and he goes down swinging, and that is brutal as hell. How does Sean feel about that, I've written? LJ is pretty much a closed case. She's a murderous psychopath. Melanie announces it all to the train, and then Melanie and Leighton put the politics to the side and raise a glass to freedom. But then it's good night, Mr. Leighton, and there's a message in the food, and I've just written down the last thing is Andrew Leighton. Because he's in a draw. His name's Andre. Andrew, yes, Andrew Leighton. Sorry. Yeah. That's it. Episode 4.
Like
How long was that?
He did that with 8 seconds to spare.
I took my time a bit because the first one was all right. So yeah. Did I miss anything?
I don't think you did. I think you got it all. When you were going through that, it made me I remembered. This is my favorite episode so far.
Yeah. This is so good, this one. This is where you're like, I said fuck a lot during this episode. I was like, fuck!
Because it builds on what people have been, what's been developed so far. It carries on. You know what's happening. You know where it's been. But it's the sort of episode that kicks it in.
Uh-huh.
Like the murder mystery, I've liked that so far. That's been I like the aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, what they're going to do now. Where does it go from here?
Yeah.
The murder mystery's been solved, sort of, we assume. I'm guessing that's what's happened. I think, I've got a feeling she's going to get off.
Mm-hmm.
First class are going to have their sway, they're going to chuck money. Ruth probably the bitch.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen.
They seem to have a lot of control, that family, don't they? The the Foglers, I think they're called, aren't they?
Yeah, they do. They've probably invested in half the train, probably.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where, like, if you are under a rule, what can you really get away with? I know first class have a lot of sway, but why? They're still on the train, and you could still put one of their arms out the window. You could take them. You've got an army on the train. You can just take them down to the tail if they really mess up.
I like the scene where they're like, "This is what happened. We think it's him," and like, "Oh well, it can't be him." And you've got all the other first class people saying try to butt in when Leighton's doing his sort of his Prado sort of moment when he's addressing everybody on the train. We've got a murderer amongst us, that kind of thing. And he's like, they're like, well, it can't be one of us. And then how he's just eating their food, just sitting down next to them,
mm-hmm.
drinking their tea, just sort of well, it is. Listen to me.
I did think we were going to get a Columbo moment when he was speaking to LJ on her own, and then I thought, we're going to get everyone come in the room, and then Leighton's going to tell everyone why she's guilty.
Well, did you ever watch Death in Paradise?
No.
On BBC One. Every episode does that. When he finds out, he's a detective. There's 3 different ones. When they find out who the killer is, instead of right, let's go and arrest
mm-hmm.
them. Say, right, gather everybody at this place, and he sits down and he has his moment on stage. And I was hoping for that. Didn't quite happen, but I was hoping for that. But I liked that scene, and where it's like we think, where's your bodyguards? Not everybody from the fights here, and Ruth's like, oh well, I didn't invite the help. She was first.
And you're like, I hate you even more now, Ruth. You're such a horrible person, Ruth. What makes you so good?
Because then he asks her, how many arms have you taken?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm right, before she even has a chance to answer, he's like, 14 or whatever he says. I'm like, go on. He wants to like slap her with these words.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Give her a smack, but verbally. Maybe he wants to do it literally.
I saw you laughing a couple of times because I did put a few little Hamilton references in there. And I noticed you got one of them at least. But yeah, I watched Hamilton this week after watching that for the for our podcast. After doing the podcast the other week, I watched Hamilton and I listened to Hamilton a lot this week just because talking about him, and he's just amazing in that, and he's amazing in this.
Well, we'll put it out there. This is kind of like breaking opening the curtain a bit. We normally discuss what we're going to do. We want to review Hamilton. There's a main review section at the top for next time.
We could do.
Let's. Are you gonna?
Is that you just calling us out live on air? Even though we're not live, you can edit this out if you wanted to. That's right.
No, I'm keeping this.
All right.
Should we do?
We could do Hamilton. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do Hamilton. Fucking get in. I love it.
Any excuse to
watch. One thing I noticed about this as well, I finally caught up with the structure, given that I'm having to do rapid refreshes, that I've imposed a rule on myself to do that. I noticed that everyone starts with a monologue about a different character. They sort of speak about a bit, and then every single episode is finished on a cliffhanger. There's a cliffhanger to every episode. But this one, I mean, like, a lot of other series would have just gone into... This murder mystery, like you say, would have been the whole series. But we're only on episode 4, and that's dealt with now. And not only that, Leighton's in a draw.
Yeah. Because I like that bit as well. We'll get to that in a second. Because you were mentioning the monologues. I've noticed that, I can't remember the first 2 episodes, but these two, each monologue ends with, on Snowpiercer, 1,000...
They all do, yeah. 1,001 cars long, yeah.
Yeah. Because I like that's a bit ties all together. But yeah, it's like, where does it go from here? I think she's going to get off.
Uh-huh.
And he has to come out the drawer somehow. Who does it? I don't know. But it's one thing. Like I said last time, first 2 episodes, I'm liking it. Yeah, but it's not something that's really wanting me to keep watching. Now I do. I want to keep watching. It's got me.
The thing is, the drawers aren't even what he convinced everyone to go into, because when the tail uprised and he said, look, go to the drawers, submit yourself to the drawers, it'll save your lives. It's not even that anymore, because you come out a zombie. Like that, like Nikki. Like, you are out and into the world and you are messed up.
But then they're sort of like, there's a discussion of whether, because she was on that chronal, is that sort of effective.
But the chronal is the knockout drug.
But yeah,
so
because
she was on there for so long. That's that. But I don't want to.
But I was thinking, was she on it beforehand as well, and that's why she was on it beforehand, and there was the knockout.
No. It's meant to just be she's been under. So that's that drug that does that to you.
It's because she came out into the fight asking for it. And it's like, does she know? Well, that's what she needs. That's where I was getting that from.
How
does she know that's
it's a thing. The chrono is developed from the knockout drug that they used to put people under, and it's that drug, whether it be chrono or whether it be the draws thing, that's what's causing you to react that way. So Leighton could still be completely messed up when he comes out. Like, he could be a zombie depending on how long he's in there for. A couple of things I wrote down about this one as well. Like, they all end in a cliffhanger. Even though I don't like cats, Snowpiercer is definitely what I would want my cat to be called.
Snowpiercer.
There's another few colloquialisms as well. There was one tail, that they do that, one tail and then put the fist together. Yeah. And also, that's just track talk. What's track talk? What's that mean? There's that trash talk, but track talk. It's like gossip. Yeah, and that guy who I was pretty mean to about fingering people, maybe he's a nice guy. Like he was very upset, wasn't he, when he found out that Nikki had died and stuff.
I think a lot of the characters in this, like we're talking about the football, like blowjob kid, I think he's just sort of like a young kid trying to make his way, making bad choices because he's scared out of fear. And I'm surprised that anyone can like have a sound sleep or just have a level head. It's the best place to live, and I think. The doctor guy is sort of the same. He's done some stuff maybe he shouldn't have. He's just trying, like he says in his monologue, they do what they need to survive, sort of thing, and to trade to try and find a way to keep their place in society and stuff like that. But it's the whole like class divide is obviously it's a massive part of the show. still annoys me, but it does in real life. But like that was like, but there's no sort of there. I think because they're all sort of warm and polite, and it is showing that some of them can like look beyond the class, and like how Jinju and Till.
Yeah, aye, and there's that sort of back and forth reciprocal thing.
Ones and third, so it's.
And the thing that there's some nuance to the first class people coming in, not much, but I mean LJ is, beyond. She's way too much. She's away. I mean, that's generally, you see that in a lot of films and stories, though, don't you? That those elements of society, those kids who are growing up spoiled, they just want amusement, so they use people for their amusement, and that's what, I think she might have had a connection with Eric, the spider monkey, but I think she's still just used him to cut off penises, because that's what she wanted to do. Yeah. And
why did she want to do that?
Don't know.
We'll probably find out on,
where do you think you would be on Snowpiercer? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I thought she would have, she was just like a spoiled little girl, but then obviously she develops into just being a proper psycho. but I like how, I was always thinking, why, there's something about her, the way she's looking at that guy, and the way she's looking at people.
Yeah.
And then she clearly just wants to chop the penises off. But, so where would I be on Snowpiercer? I'd probably just have to be in the tail. I'd probably just have to stow away.
That's pretty much. I was thinking that. I was thinking I'd be dead. I'd be outside. I'd be in the frozen tundra.
Oh well, if I managed to get on it, I'd be in.
I mean, I do actually have an exit plan for if anything like that were to happen. Not that, but something like that. Like I know where I'm going. I'll tell you offline, but no one else is finding it. I did like as well this one. There's sort of a slight commentary on gun violence. There's like, this one guy's got a gun. That's a bad.
Yeah, and it's like one of the guys said, that's an actual gun. Like when Eric's he's in the market type thing, and he grabs Ginger and points it at the guy, and he's like, that's an actual gun.
You're not supposed to have them on here. Have you seen the Neil Gaiman based show Neverwhere?
No, but I think it could be something else I'm thinking about. But I think it was a radio.
Yeah, it probably will be a lot of Neil Gaiman stuff.
I think I might listen to a little bit of it.
Aye, it's just that the market reminds me of that, like because, the series is that it's basically places in London, but there's a hidden sort of world behind the world that you see. The TV series isn't really well done. I haven't seen the TV series. I'll send it out to you. It's not too bad, but I think it could be done much better if you put more money into it than they obviously had available. But that's a massive tangent away from this. What's that? So episode 4, things are all kicking off. It's getting exciting, and there's still 6 episodes left to go.
There's 10. Yeah, I'm properly like I said, I'm sold. I'm just gonna keep watching.
Can't wait. Well, next week. Anything else on that one, or are we good to go? All right then.
That's it.
Next section. The best of the worst. This time we've decided to go with it was on that list that you gave us, Sean, again, wasn't it? The worst 100 worst films according to Rotten Tomatoes. We've decided to go with Flatliners, and that's the 2017 version. So this is it's a remakey boot of the mediocre 1990s horror film, which also had a massively stacked cast. That cast was huge. Kiefer Sutherland is back in this one, but who gives a shit? Because he's not back in any real way. Elliot Page, Diego Luna star in this absolutely whatever film about a terrible bunch of trainee doctors who want to die but not die in an attempt to get brain damage so that they can go to parties with the fellow students and have sex with each other and possibly unlock their true potential.
Yeah.
But it won't work because brain damage.
This is what I like to call a face palm of a film. It really is.
Yeah.
I know we might be looking at the best, and I
can't do it.
One thing I've got is I thought the cast did okay for what they had.
Yeah, so shall I give you my list of good stuff?
Go on.
Diego Luna. That's it.
Good list. See, well, I've got cast because I think Elliot Page did a fine job. Diego Luna, fine.
Oh, I want to say up top as well, I get really confused, and it happened before with Bill and Ted, when we're talking about non-binary people who identify as non-binary or who identify as other genders, and when we're talking about them in female roles, that really messes me up. So any slips that we make or anything that I say she or he or they, and I've got it wrong, misgendering people, it's not intentional, and I am trying, so apologies.
In some cases, like, I don't even know personally myself. Obviously, I'm aware in this film.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't aware of anybody in the Bill and Ted. So if I've...
Is it Bridget Lundy Payne, I think, when they filmed Bill and Ted, who were still identified as female but are now non-binary, similarly with Atypical. So, but again, in the film, they play, and in the series, they play female characters. As with this, you know, you have Elliot Page playing a female character there, so it's difficult. And we're sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I laugh, but we are sorry. Like it's difficult
because it is. And obviously, if we do make mistakes, in some cases it is like with me. I wasn't aware of Bridget Lundy Payne, so I'm not going to get that right because I didn't know.
Yeah,
so,
and
but now I did, and that's the important thing.
That's it. Yeah. So that's that. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, we have.
It's just when you mentioned Elliot Page, I was like, right, okay.
Yeah. No, well, because obviously, in the credits...
It's not Elliot Page, no.
Yeah, it's not Elliot Page. So, but I made sure to write that down. I've written it down, so...
Yeah.
But like, I thought Elliot Page did a fair job. Like, Diego Luna, he was the standout for me in this.
I just like that he kept telling everyone, you've got brain damage. Yeah. That's what it is. It's brain damage. You're like, yeah, no...
Because the question I've got is why? It's like, what is the... Get with like Elliot Page's character. It's the same with Kiefer Sutherland's in the original.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's a guilt over a death that was caused.
Yeah.
So,
but Sophia, the lass who plays Sophia says that the first time that what's her name? Is it Courtney goes under? Elliot Page's character. Yeah. The first time she goes under, Sophia says you'll get brain damage. And she's right. Everyone got brain damage, and everyone started hallucinating, and that's this film. That's what it was.
Well, that's another positive I've put in, like the imagery when they hallucinate when they come out of the flatline.
Uh-huh.
Like it goes a bit sort of magical, and that looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And like with their joy when they came back and how they were sort of on a high.
Yeah.
But yet, apart from that, I know it's called The Best of the Worst. I think we've just discussed The Best of the Worst in 5 minutes. And not even that. It's not a good film.
The thing is, as well, it's not the worst film though either. I think this suffers from that Rotten Tomatoes aggregation thing of if it's below 60%, it gets a negative mark. So that's it. It's down at 4%. And if someone said to me, "Would you rate this film? Where would it be? 45 to 55, maybe." Yeah. It's a film. And there's a beginning and an ending, and there's a story, and it's a plot line, and it runs from beginning to end. They've made a film out of this.
It was just a bit boring. I found it hard to keep watching it, not because it was like it was just there wasn't enough in it to keep me wanting to like. I didn't really care.
No,
what happened to them.
I really struggled to keep focused on it.
Because I don't know if I should have, but. Because I've never seen the original. Well, I think I might have watched it once, but years ago.
I was a kid when I watched it, and I remember the flying thing, and that was it.
Yeah. So, I thought I'm going to watch it to remind myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because I watched the original first and then the remake that I prefer the original.
Right.
Maybe I should have just done an experiment and watched this one first, then watched the original.
Uh-huh.
And obviously I don't know, but I think I would have still preferred the original. The original's... It's a lot better, but then again, it's not the best film in the world. But there's something more spooky about the original.
Right.
I think the new one goes for more horror elements.
Yeah.
It tries to be horror more, but it's not.
I thought that because I thought...
The original, I don't think it's trying to be, but it is more scary.
The original's sort of like, it was Kiefer Sutherland coming off the back of so was he coming off the back of Lost Boys at this point? And you've got your sort of like Kevin Bacon, so it can be more fun. You know, you've got your Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon, and you've got your Kiefer Sutherland. You can... They bring a certain character and a certain thing to it. I haven't seen the original one for years. I can't really remember, but yeah, I get the feeling that might be what it is. Is it or?
Yeah, because there's a bit more sort of. I don't know if it's biblical, but it's like there's more of a religious tone, like in religious imagery in that one. And that can always come across quite spooky to me.
That didn't really...
With like ominous music. And...
Yeah, because that was the thing I found about this one, was that they tried to steer away from all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then, consequently, you didn't have anything to hook it on. So, like, I found myself thinking halfway through, either do a spooky film where the afterlife is a thing and you are dragging stuff back from it, or do a science-based film where you've got brain damage and you're having to deal with this. But you can't do both at the same time. They don't run concurrently. Yeah. You can buy into one world or you can buy into the other world. You can't expect me to buy into both. So if it is a spooky film and it's the afterlife and you're bringing stuff back from that, say that up top. Just go with it.
One thing I will I don't know if it's necessarily better, but one thing the remake does that the original one could have maybe had done with, and again, I know you haven't seen it for years, and we do talk spoilers about the best of the worst.
Oh yeah, we didn't say that up top, did we? This is all spoilers.
No, yeah, but
it doesn't matter.
Best of the worst spoilers. So to me, the original Keith Sutherland decides he needs to instead of flatline and come back, he needs to die as a sort of penance for causing a young boy to die when he was a kid.
Right.
And so he goes to take his own life, and they catch him in time and bring him out of it. And in the remake, Elliot Page's character, again, I had to rewind it and go back, but I couldn't figure out if the character dies
right
as a result of being in sort of like this hallucination sort of effect that's come out of the film.
Right.
And so the death sort of added a bit of sort of like a cost to it. There's a bit of tension, a bit of danger.
Yeah, because they all come out of it. They all go in and come out, don't they? So there isn't really a risk to it. Yeah. So they stay in for a bit longer. And, oh no, they're going to die. They're not. They're fine. Everyone's all right. They just come out.
But then the character falls off a balcony, and then so it does add a little bit of danger. And we need to sort this.
Yeah. I actually...
the character's called Courtney, like she's died because of this, and it's kind of like... this first one could have maybe done with that.
Yeah, right. I wasn't looking when she fell off the balcony, so when they were all like, oh no, she's dead, I'm like, who's dead? Oh, and then I noticed that Courtney was the one that wasn't there, I'm like, alright, she's dead then, is she? Alright. I was like, I didn't realise that guy was living on a boat for a while either. I'm like, he's on a boat, that fella.
Because I think the Courtney character, obviously, it sort of mirrors the Keith Sutherland character in the first one, where she crashes a car that kills her sister. Obviously, he's killed someone when he was a kid.
Right. Is that what that joke was about then, when they're all confessing stuff and they're around the table and Jamie says, what was it? He says, oh, there was this one girl, and you're like, oh, and you killed her. Like, I didn't kill her.
Because I can't remember the character's name, but I've got the actress here, Nina Dobrev.
Yeah.
Her character is responsible for
Marlo. That's
Marlo.
her. Yeah.
Marlo. But so she's responsible for a death. Mm-hmm. So I think that plays a lot of both of them. But yeah, it's like what? Yo, you killed her? No, I didn't kill her. I just
got her pregnant. Yeah. And I think the thing is, like, at the end, the ending. That's a valid ending for that film. If it was a different or better film, if it had earned that ending.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't seem to earn it all, did it? But I do have some things that I did listen to positives. I was being slightly glib when I said Diego Luna, but there wasn't much else. The credits at the beginning are really shit, but it does set up the premise well. Like the opening credits, like I thought that was good. I also thought it's not scary, so that's a good thing because I'm not really good with horror.
Yeah. So I'll put you like horror, and I've put a cross next to suspense. I've put a line, which I think the line means meh.
I thought it was hilarious. When Marlo goes down to the morgue and rings Courtney's phone, it just starts ringing in a drawer, just like, hello? And then it's like murder and all that. It's just, it's not scary at all. I actually, I also wrote down when Courtney was putting on the head thing for the first time, it reminded me of Cerebro, and she's Kitty Pryde. And I'm like... So I was like, is this Cerebro? What's going on in this? There was and also when it said, oh, she's been dead for 2 minutes. She hasn't been dead. Her heart just stopped. She's flatlined. She's not dead. You're not dead when your heart stops. You've started dying.
Yeah.
But death is a process that takes a while. That's why people like pop back up and go, oh, I'm still alive and all that. You're not. You were never dead.
Yeah. You were on your way to dead. you were getting there. But that's the thing that got me for this film, because it's like they're students. and she wants to do this. Why did she go to other students for help? Why would she not go to... Obviously, I'm guessing fully qualified doctors who have a career might not want to take part in this. Yeah, that's probably it. But then even again for students, and again, I'm not a doctor or a student of medicine or anything like that, so I don't know what sort of level you have to be at before you can start working in a hospital. I'm guessing a high level. In America, the way it works, obviously there's learning hospitals, so
yeah,
they will know a fair lot about medicine.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's like 5 years before you get to do a placement and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, so I know they're technically still students, but they'll get the gist. But for me, it was like they just happen to know a lot. I'd be okay trusting them with my diagnosis, but then maybe not with the way they play fast and loose with flatlining people.
I do know, like, sort of from anecdotally from people in medical professions that some stuff does go on, maybe not to this extent when you're learning, but you maybe experimenting with the odd thing that you're playing with. Maybe. What else was I thinking of as well? There was that really dumbass car chase scene. How the hell did that play out?
Right, I totally forgot about that when you said that. That's how much
it's from a different film because they changed the camera and everything like that, don't they? Like, it seems that they're all in a Mini and they're all crammed into that Mini and like they're just like whoa. It's just stupid. They're escaping nothing. I think the cleaning team's coming in and Sophia wants to do her flatline there and then, so they go down and do it and then like they get caught. But they're just running away from security. There's no way to continue that chase scene into the streets because no one's chasing them. The security guards were on foot. The security guards were on foot.
And again, it doesn't matter chase scenes, but obviously it just happened to be that character's car. But I just remember thinking, that's not a good looking car for it.
It isn't. I think it's a different car.
I know that just.
I need to watch it again, and I'm not going to watch it again. But I think they put everyone into a different car than they drive out on the street in. Because I think it's a Mini that they're out on the street in. But there's a weird sort of door opening system going on that I don't recognise. Yeah, it's a dumbass film. It's dumbass. The Rubik's Cube bit as well. Remember that? Where Sophia's like, everyone's got these superpowers, and she's just sort of messing about with the Rubik's Cube for a bit, and they like speed up her hands, or it's not her hands, or they do something.
I must have just blanked out for a bit. I don't remember that. That's how much this film held my attention. I know I should be a bit more professional and try to. Oh man, that's like I wanted to like this film.
Yeah.
I like the premise. It's an interesting sort of premise, and
the thing is, one thing I want to know is how did it get made? The original film, right, cost 26 million, and it made 61 million back. So that's a return. It's not great. But it's 2.35 times the budget of what it was made for. This one, they made it cheaper than the original. This one cost 19 million to make, and it made 45 million, which is 2.26 times the budget. It's almost exactly the same return as the original film. So someone's just gone, you know what? Does anybody want to make a little bit of money? And I know, like, if I spent 26 million on something and someone give me 61 million back, I'd probably be quite happy. But in Hollywood terms, that hasn't really made any money because you're at 30 to 35 million after your marketing, and then cinemas keep some of that. So you've probably made about 2-3 million.
Yeah, 10% of the ticket prices.
If someone said, "Do you want to make like $3 or $4 million?" I'd probably say yes. So that's what they've done here.
For me or you, that's a good day at work. But for Hollywood, it's like, yeah, you can have better days as a Hollywood company. But
yeah. The other thing I noted down about this is that I didn't go and see this at the cinema, and this was back in the days when I would have gone to see everything at the cinema. I would go and see 4 and 5 films a day.
Back in the day when we were allowed to go
to
the cinema.
So I thought it was really odd that I didn't go and see it, because I was intrigued by it, because the cast's good. I remember seeing a bit of the original and thinking it was cool, but I was a child, so who knows. And then I went back and thought of what was out at the same time that I would have gone to see in that day when I didn't see this. So this would have made this the 5th film in that day. I went to see Kingsman, American Made, Blade Runner 2049, and Thor Ragnarok. I regret nothing.
Yeah, you made the right choice. I mean, out of those ones, I've not seen American Made, but I've seen the rest. So yeah, you did right.
Yeah, American Made is actually all right. I would put it 4th in those 4 films, but it's a good rake of films, those 4 films. And then I would put Flatliners way down behind that.
Well, obviously, I thought the mistake I made was watching the original before this one.
Right.
Come to think of it, the biggest mistake I made was watching them back to back. So that's what I literally did. I watched them back to back. So I think I maybe should have went into the new one with just a clean slate. Maybe a different day, or maybe watched it first. But I don't think it would have really had an effect.
It doesn't really make much of a difference, to be honest, Sean. I went into this after having watched Snowpiercer, all the episodes, but still.
Well, I watched the 2 Snowpiercer episodes after this.
Yeah.
There was a big day watching that day.
Well, yeah, this is no Speed 2 at all, is it? This is
I remember last time we were talking about Speed 2, we gave I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy from Friends.
Oh yeah, Mike Haggerty. Mike Haggerty.
I don't know if we can award one to this.
Oh, what gets the Oscar for this film?
Or should we just call it the Waffle? What gets the Waffle?
I had one. I reckon Diego Luna not being able to take off a woman's top should get it in this one. His inability to lift up a top from the bottom when he's about to have sex with Marlo is unbelievable. He starts faffing around with buttons that aren't even there.
I'm gone. That is true.
I was like, what are you up to, mate? This is just frustrating. You know, like, sex scenes vary throughout films, but I was like, fuck me, mate. You're wasting your time.
And he's had his fair share. Then he should know what he's doing by now.
I mean, yeah. Oh, he's a befuddled, yeah. Okay, he's a medical student who maybe doesn't go out partying, and they've all come out partying and things like that. But fuck me, mate. Just get on with it. You look like Diego Luna. You've clearly had sex with somebody before.
You look how you look.
Aye, exactly. That just didn't really track for me, that bit. The other thing was as well that I found absolutely bonkers was like they come out of this thing and this gets abandoned later on in the film, by the way, as well. This premise that they're all on one wavelength. When Courtney and Jamie, they do theirs, and then they come out of this party and they're like, "Hey, let's go!" And then they just smash through that wall. They start sort of like grinding about a bit together, and they just go in the street and they chucking rain at each other and they're fucking around in traffic. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And everyone else is standing back going, wow, look at them. It's like they're on the same wavelength. And I'm like, they look fucking hammered. That's all that is. They look smashed. Yeah, they just look fucking mental. And they look like students out on the street. And then they go to that party and they're like, oh,
I don't want to be on that.
Great party. Like, it wasn't a great party. It was just a party. Fucking hell. And that whole thing about them being on one wavelength just gets abandoned after those two. Like, that doesn't come in throughout the rest of the film. There's loads of just things that just dropped. It's like, fucking time-wasting bastards here. Anyway, well done. Whatever his name was, the Danish fellow that made this. You made a film, didn't you?
Oh, I've got the director's name. Niels Arden Ockler.
That's him.
I think I've written that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big. I've made a couple of short films. I get how difficult they can be.
I've made a couple of sex films. That's it. Just me and them. But, I'll put them on the Facebook page.
I don't know if I could even make a film this size.
No.
Good on you. It's not an easy job. No. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea, I'm afraid.
No. Next section. Have a banana. Time for the trade-off. So, not only have we got the trade-off for this week, but we've also got the trade-offs from last week. So, what are we trading this time, Sean? I asked you last week to listen to a few songs that I liked, and you made me watch Away.
And I can only apologise. In case you didn't get from last week, I am not a fan.
You weren't, were you? No.
So,
Do you want me to? Who's going first on this one? Me, you?
you tell us what you thought.
I'll do it. We're going to do it. I won't do it as rapidly as Snowpiercer. No. So when I was watching it, things that you said from the last podcast started to creep into my head. Like I thought, oh yeah, I can understand, Sean, but I can understand them taking a whole season to get to Mars, because Mars would take years to get there anyway. So a series about going to Mars, I would imagine the entertainment is in the journey, the drama's in the journey. Problem is, they didn't bother with that, did they? They didn't bother with any of the drama in the journey. They bothered about the daughter's freckles and stuff like that. They bothered about just so much nonsense back home, and they just kept nipping back. Yeah. There was things that I thought of as well. I'm not one for continuity. I don't notice anything. But there's one thing we've noticed whilst being in lockdown this year, is that if your phone is portrait and someone else's phone is landscape, you will appear thin in the middle of their screen. And that didn't happen in this. That was episode 1. That bothered me. But yeah, and there was things that are like, I feel like there were scenes cut out as well that there were references to later on. Like Hilary Swank's character called her husband shithead at one point, and the daughter says, "You guys are so weird," and I'm sat there thinking, "Hey, you are fucking weird. There's no way that hasn't been mentioned. There's no reason for you to be calling him a shithead. That's not banter. That's just you calling him a shithead for
I remember that. I was thinking it was a bit harsh.
It was really weird, yeah. So yeah, I actually watched 3 episodes, and I did what you did and fast forwarded right to the end to watch the last one. Yeah, you've got like such little Chinese lady Frodo. I didn't understand what that was about, and then of all of the things that you could have done with an international mission across the galaxy, or across the solar system at least, to our neighbouring planet Mars, and all of the tension that could bring with, international conflict and governments working together. And you decide to go with just a love story between 2 people. And I know, yeah, fine, but it was fucking boring. That bit. Yeah. Why have they all been sent up with just their stereotypical cultural foods as well? That's racist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they're all saying about like, oh, she's got the best food. I can't believe they managed to freeze dry dim sum. Why can't you have some dim sum? Just because you're American, we all know what dim sum is.
You know what it is as well. What got me about things like that, and that's what I was trying to allude to. I didn't want to, because obviously I maybe give a bit more than I should have over last week. But I just went on a rant, but because I'm fascinated by space travel and things like that, and I love it. I watch so much about it at the minute. Like the stuff they were trying to make dramatic, like the episode when they go on, because I think I might have watched a bit more than 3 episodes. Right. I think this is like maybe the second or third, when they go on the spacewalk, because one of the panels.
Oh Christ!
The amount of she's going on a spacewalk, but there's so much. Yes, spacewalks are blooming dangerous, but they've done that many of them. They know what they're doing. It's a serious thing, but they have it live streaming on national TV. I know when they do spacewalks these days, they're live streaming them on the internet. Because I watched one the other day. But
I suppose they would. Yeah, they might. If there's something on that scale, they might do. But also, like, it's a dangerous thing. Like, there's a real problem out there. They might not make it to Mars if they don't sort that out. And she's just doing stuff like detaching a cable and just jumping at it. It's like, you're firing yourself across the universe at 1,000 miles an hour, or 10,000 miles an hour, whatever it is.
That shuttle will be going so fast, and at one point they're just standing there like they're walking on the road.
But that would be okay though, because it's relative, isn't it? There's no resistance.
But you think they'd be moving a bit somehow. Like when they're going that fast and doing spacewalks, you could tell they have to pull themselves along and stuff. And they have to, in real life, they have to pull themselves along.
It's still not as bad as Brad Astra in that bad Brad Pitt Astra film where he swims through space. Did you see that? At one point he just starts doing breaststroke. He just starts swimming through space. But yeah, so I watched through it, and there was something there that was sort of keeping me going, but not enough to really make it interesting. Then when I cut to the end, you get there's some things that I thought, oh, well, that might be interesting to watch. Like, there's some, the husband, Hilary Swank's husband's giving a dead-eye stare to another guy in a wheelchair, and I'm like, what's happened here? Has there been some sort of wheelchair guy off thing and that I've missed? And there was a couple other things at the end. I thought, I want to know what happened with I forget the woman's name now, but the woman who's representing China. I wanted to know what happened with her relationship, and she's going back to be with that woman, and that's nice. And she defied a country they all came together as a team. It was all dead nice. Spoilers for this, because and the thing that annoyed me was like when you get these things and you've got the guy who was I think he was the African guy. He was from Africa, I think he was. Quite posh spoken bloke. And he was always wanting to pray for them and stuff, which is fine. But I was thinking, you know what, if I'm God, right, and you fuckers have fired yourselves across the galaxy at 10,000 miles an hour, and I created you on Earth, left you with a place where you could survive. I mean, it's not perfect. There's things trying to kill you all the time. But, like, you can drown. You can get hit by a car. You created cars. That's your fault. You know, but, like, say, I put you on Earth where you can breathe, you can live, there's food and all that sort of thing. Why are you now firing yourself at 10,000 miles an hour at another planet? The practice planet, for all we know. Maybe that's the one that he got wrong first.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you fire yourself, and now you want me to make sure that you land properly on this planet. You're on your fucking own, mate.
That's one thing that annoyed me, is like you kind of touched on it before. It's the sort of the drama it should have been the journey, but that's why I wanted them to just get to Mars, because they weren't really. There was obviously they had to do the spacewalk because part of the ship wasn't working. And there is a bit of tension. The tension wasn't the tension that I was looking for.
No.
It was just more, there was tension because they're from different countries.
And that's fine. And the thing is, I went back and...
The Russian guy wanted to be the boss, just because he's a Russian. And, hey, the Russians have done a lot of amazing stuff with space. Yeah. And I get it. But it should have been more. It should have been... The
thing is, like, all of this stuff would have been ironed out. This team would never have been sent into space because they've got too much shit going on. Yeah. Like, the drama that's going on between the team members, they would not have been allowed to go on a 4-year mission to Mars. Yeah. A 3-year mission, sorry, wasn't it? Because your personality types would not be selected for that mission. Like, that just wouldn't happen. You know, the ego that was going on at the beginning, I was like, none of these fuckers would be allowed into space. And also, if you're in space, you can't just ring back home. Like, they pick up the phone and she's back speaking to her husband. Yeah. It gets channeled through NASA or through whatever communication satellites you're going through and stuff. They can hear you. That's why later on, they have to set up a private comms link and knock out a load of stuff at NASA so that that woman can speak to her girlfriend who's been sent back to China. Yeah. So you can't just pick up your phone to your husband and your daughter, which they do. It's like they didn't think they were in space. It's like they wrote, like... you know how... I wrote down, actually, sorry. You know how when Suzanne Collins... I'm rambling now. I'm ranting about it. But you know how when Suzanne Collins was writing The Hunger Games, the way she came up with it was because she was watching late-night TV, channel surfing, and she saw the war in Afghanistan and reality TV. And then it was flipping between news reports of the war in Afghanistan, reality TV, and that's how she came up with it. And I can only think that whoever wrote this, was sitting flipping between, it was daytime TV, and they were just sitting flipping between Days of Our Lives and The Martian. Because it's as if that's all they've got. They've got like daytime TV soap drama, and they've just gone, well, some of these characters could be in a space type room.
That's pretty much... That's put my thoughts into like words, because I was trying to describe it in that's it. But thank you very much, saves me a job. That's where it is.
That's a way then.
Yeah. I was just one very last thing. It's like some of the you're on about the women putting people into space. Now I get it. In real life, you'll meet people and you'll work with people that you won't get on with. Mm-hmm. I know it's a drama and it's a kind of fantasy. The scary thing is, it's not that too much away from our future. They're working on going to Mars now.
Yeah.
So it's and it's fascinating. It's amazing, and I hope I get to see it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do something like that, yes, it's a fantasy kind of, and it's a drama. It doesn't have to be bang on reality.
Yeah.
But there's little things like you said, they wouldn't have put them into space in the first place. Mm-hmm. But they wouldn't have left when they had to go to the moon first. They wouldn't have let them then go to Mars after that. Because they've already had an issue with the captain before they even got to the moon. Mm-hmm. 2 minutes into the flight, they were annoyed with it. Aye. And they're out for their own gain, especially the Russian guy at the start, the Chinese woman.
Yeah.
They're just out for their own gain and their own, and they're purposely causing tension.
Yeah.
Space is a dangerous game.
Yeah.
If you don't like anybody, you put your job first.
Yeah.
The thing is, Mars, don't annoy anybody.
You're right on that. The thing is, if each of them had their own agenda, if it had been a political agenda based on what international tensions are happening on the ground and in space, like in The Martian, that could have been interesting. But it just wasn't. The one final thing that I noticed was that when they all land, or they all coming down, they all managed to cry on one side of the face. Did you notice that? Is that an actor thing? Can you do that? Can you cry on your left side? Or is it just the left side that people can do it on? Because every single one of them had a left-hand tear.
Oh, man. I never noticed that, but I will go watch it.
It's the last 5 minutes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just watch that.
Because that's what annoyed me, because one day I might, if I'm bored, I might go back and watch it all. But I just wanted to see them land on Mars, and they do. Spoiler. But that's quite a fascinating scene, and it's quite good. I will give it, the visual effects are really good in the program. It looks good. It visually looks really good.
Yeah. Oh, they've put some money into it. Yeah. Shame.
Yeah. But shame the story just wasn't there, because when they're landing, even though I hadn't watched the rest of the series, I was still feeling from go on, land. But I just wish I could have stuck with the entire journey.
I know, because there was clearly a lot had gone on by the time you get to the end of it. I mean, the Russian guy's blind.
Yeah.
How did that happen? And they've everyone's made amends. They're all a team. They all came together. But they shouldn't have gone apart in the first place. So I stopped watching. So I won't watch anymore. That's enough. How did you get on with Lucky Chops, though?
It made my 2 weeks.
Did it?
That is the best thing I've listened to in a while.
I'm glad you liked it.
I've even made a playlist on Spotify.
Oh, nice.
I was walking to get my kids from school the other day, and I just whacked it on. It had a swagger in my step as I was going.
It's good walking around music, isn't it? It's good anything.
It is. And I sent my brother a link to one of them. I can't remember which one it was now. And he's like, I'm lying here in bed just dancing. He was like that. And so I've put, straight away, the first word I've written on my notes is intricate. I love how intricate the music is. Uh-huh. There's so many parts going on. Mm-hmm. In some of the songs, again, you correct me if I'm wrong, I've listened to some of the versions they've done, like My Girl, and they've done other covers on Spotify.
All right, yeah.
But the ones you sent me, were they all original? The one you sent me?
Yes, they're all their songs. Yeah, aye.
Because I've tried to look for some of them, and I couldn't figure it out if there was. But yeah, so I think you said it's just joyful.
Yeah.
It's proper, just happy music. And obviously you can edit things and make things sound a bit better in post-production when you record stuff. Mm. But it sounded pitch perfect. Even the studio recordings, I don't know if that's the live version we're hearing or the edited version.
Yeah, it is edited versions they have out here. They're all that studio. I think that I've seen a lot of people recording in there. I think it's a big one in New York, so I think it's quite a tight studio and quite a professional place that they do stuff in. So yeah,
just they don't what I've written down here, especially Coco.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like a jazz improv kind of song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, aye.
It's
really jazzy. It's really good.
But it's like they're all just making it up as they go along.
Right.
And it's working together and they're all kind of playing their own little bit and they're doing their own riffs. But it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the song. That's how well they work.
Yeah.
And my favourite one is It's Not Goodbye.
Yeah, I love that one.
And it's 7 minutes long. I didn't realise that the first time I listened to it. And I've put here, it's the Return of the King of Lucky Chops' songs. Because it's got 4 or 5 different endings. Because each time I was thinking, oh, that's a good song. Oh, they're still going. Oh, I like that. Oh, they're still going. And then they just builds up to one heck of a crescendo. But there's a drum solo in one, is it that one? I think it's that one. There's a bit of a drum solo in there.
Right.
That's just, I've put 5 stars next to it, so I must like it. And there's a song that wasn't on your list.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome. It's on the Spotify.
All right. I didn't send you full albums or anything like that, or other recommendations. There's a song called For Connie, which I really like. If you like It's Not Goodbye, that might be a one to look for. But when you're on YouTube, you will run onto a lot of the same videos, won't they? They keep suggesting a lot of the covers and stuff.
Next to You.
Oh yeah,
Next to You. That's all.
Yeah.
That's a great little tune. And obviously there's ones that Coming Home, I think, is quite good as well. There's quite a few that have it's just good. It's such a bad word to use when you try to describe something, but that's it. It's just good. It's good fun, and it is just happy music. But one that I did appreciate is the skill of the musicians, like the artist's skill, and then obviously you blow a trumpet.
Yeah.
I used to play the cornet when I was a lot younger. I think I finished when I was about 12 or 13. But I remember not being able to even blow the thing, obviously, like for a good couple of weeks. But but they're not easy to play.
No.
And I gave up, and I wish I didn't give up because I'd be still playing an instrument. But I just appreciated the level of how they play those.
It is good. I mean, some of the things that you hear them do, I mean, it depends on what songs you're listening to as well. I mean, some of the players have rotated in and out. And they do solo stuff or play with other bands as well. So, I mean, you can go into YouTube deep dives and just let it go and it'll take you in all kinds of directions. But, you know, like Leo P, the original Barry sax player that's on Coco, you know, is completely different to the current Barry sax player, but a lot of his stuff's really interesting to listen to. Some of the things that he can do with the Barry sax, you know, things that I couldn't even think of doing, like range, like up high, down low, different new interesting ways of playing it and stuff. Like it's just bonkers. And like you say, sounding improvised whilst being as tight as it is, just. It's a massive skill. So yeah.
Obviously, I was trying to describe it, and obviously, like jazz, the kind of do that. Don't they'll be playing together, and one will just go off, and it'll be like a different solo every night. They'll kind of play sometimes in like improv. And it came across that way because they were just having fun with it. But I think that kind of comes across in. Obviously, I don't know if it was written that way or if they just improvised, and that's how they got that song. Yeah. Right, it works that way. That's the way we'll do it. We'll keep it.
I'll send you some actual improv stuff with some of those players that I've mentioned there. I'll send you a link to something like that, just in case you'd like to hear the difference, or you know, just like because if you like that, there's a good chance you'll like hearing the actual improv stuff. That's just
it's infectious in a way. Watching them play. I don't know the instrument, but it's in Coco. The guy that's like wearing that tuba thing.
Oh, sousaphone. Yeah, Buyo.
He's like wearing.
Aye, Raphael Buyo is that boy. Yeah.
He's just bouncing away when he's having so much fun. And he's dancing and he's wearing an instrument around his neck, and it's bigger than him. And he's just dancing and bouncing away. And he's having the time of his life. And it's just like it made me happy when I was just smiling listening to him.
Oh, brilliant! I'm glad you enjoyed it, and
that's what you want music to do. You just want to smile, and laugh at it and not laugh. But you know what I mean? You want to be happy, and it's proper. Like if you're feeling down, listen to that. Listen to Lucky Chops. Get them on.
Oh, grand! I'm glad that worked out for our first trade off. Then that's cool.
It did. And so I've actually written in my notes here under it, just winner. That's what it was. Nice. It was a winner.
Oh, that's cool. Are you ready for my next one, or is there anything else you want to say about Lucky Chops?
No, we'll crack on. What you got for next?
So this one, so you know, I like to read like comic books every now and again. I got some comic books for Christmas, and it sort of reignited me reading comics because I haven't read any for ages. And I thought, oh no. Be nice. I'll get reading comic books again. So I started diving into some of my sort of boxes and stuff, and I started pulling some things out. And I've been reading the ones I got for Christmas, but trying to spread them out. So I've been reading other stuff in between as well. I started reading Poe Dameron today, the Star Wars one, Black Squadron it was. So just Poe Dameron one, which is different. It sort of leads into The Force Awakens, and it's about how he gets to Max von Sydow's character, and so that's really quite interesting. So I thought, right, I'm gonna recommend. As a trade-off, I'm gonna give you a comic book to read, but I thought I'll make it one that you might be interested in. So winging its way to you right now in the post is a copy of Vader Down. So I know you like.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about that.
I think it's a really good series. I've read the first volume. The artwork in this is absolutely stunning. So it's written by Jason Aaron, artist Mike Diodato, and colorist Frank Martin Jr. There's a lot of other people credited and things, but you'll see that when you get there. But for me, like, I'm going to show you some stuff now. Listeners, you're going to have to buy your own copy if you want to see this, but look at the artwork on that. Just look at that. It's just the splash pages that you get. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, that looks like my copy.
And I mean, like, this is it's only the first issue, so there's no huge big time commitment or anything for you there.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm a slow reader, but I'm sure I'll manage that.
And it's also what struck me with that when I read the first volume of that was it's, you know, the Darth Vader, and spoilers for Rogue One coming up, so get out if you haven't seen Rogue One. But the Darth Vader that we see at the end of Rogue One, that's the Darth Vader in this book. It's not the clunky James Earl Jones, Dave Prowse swing and a miss. So I'll just slice through like can barely move Darth Vader. It is Darth Vader at the height of his power, and that's cool to me. So there is a copy of that on its way. It came out. It's part of like a True Believers series. So it was one of those ones that was it was $1 on Star Wars Day. You could buy this one for. So don't worry, I've spared no expense. I've spent no expense. It really didn't cost me anything. So don't worry about that if you don't like it, but I hope you will. It's Vader Down. So if anybody else wants to read along with us, you can pick it up on eBay for a couple of quid. And it's well worth a read, I would say, to the listeners.
Well, that's the thing, because obviously I've spoke to you about it, and I like listening to audiobooks. I'm not a massive, I like reading. I'm just very slow, and I'm very conscious of how slow I am. Comic books, I've got a couple myself, and I've started them. And I read them all, and it should probably be something that I should maybe read more, because I will actually be able to read it and finish it. They're not that big, so it's depending on obviously the time you buy. So, and I love me some Star Wars, so I'll give that a read. Definitely, I'm sure I'll be able to do it in one sitting. So, or maybe even read it a couple of times. So,
if you do get hooked on that, then there's volumes to buy, isn't there? The Vader Down series that. It incorporates a bunch of different ones, so I've got it on digital, and it's let me just check. I'm going to bring it up. Might need to cut out some dead time here, sure. Because on Comixology, copyright strike. Anyway, okay, here we go. Vader Down. The collected volume starts with this Vader Down book, but then it also has together Darth Vader number 13, Star Wars number 13, Darth Vader 14, Star Wars 14, and Darth Vader 15. So that's one story arc that interweaves between the different stories.
I know they've got like a Star Wars writers' room, but they must have quality.
And the thing I found about reading that is it's really good because it gives you a sample of a couple of the other books. So it gives you Vader Down, which is really cool. It gives you Darth Vader, so just straight Darth Vader, and it gives you some Star Wars stuff with some of the other characters in it. It introduces characters like Dr. Aphra as well, who I think might be getting given a TV series or something as well.
I've heard that.
Yeah, Dr. Aphra's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a good one to start off on that one, because if you do like that, then get that volume, and then that gives you ways into other stuff. Of course, this thing's years old, so not a new thing.
I'll definitely give it a read. And so far, as obviously Darth Vader, love the character. Star Wars, love the IP. So yeah, and I like reading things that are readable in very quick sessions. So you're good at these trade-offs here so far. Even though I've not done this one yet, I think it might be too.
Well, we'll see. So, the first one's worked for both of us anyway, because I got to rant about a TV series and you enjoyed some music, so that's right.
Well, this week I thought I'd chuck some music in your direction.
Oh, all right. Playing with my own game.
So, in a bit of a maybe a spoiler for when we get our tips out, but I think I'm going to twos up on music.
All right.
But I'm torn between two for me tips this week, and maybe unprofessionally, but I'm still kind of deciding. So, but for me, trade off. It's an album. You don't have to listen to the full album, but we'll see how you get through it. It's a musical.
Oh.
But.
Do I know what this is?
I don't know if you do.
All right. Okay.
I don't know if you do. It's called Hades Town.
Oh, I don't.
You don't, right? So it came out in, I didn't write the date. No, I did. 2018, it opened in London. 2019, it went on Broadway. It won 8 out of the 14 Tony Awards that it was nominated for, which is basically the theatre.
I know what a Tony is. It's part of the EGOT.
Yeah, exactly. So it won original score, featured actor, orchestration, musical, the best musical director, and the director, Rachel Chavkin, is one of only 4 females who have won the directing Tony, and the most recent one.
When you said directing Tony, I just got, I'm putting you on my list of enemies, Tony, from Father Ted. Graham Norton. It won the directing Tony. I'm the directing Tony, and I'm.
That's right.
Cut that if you want.
So,
I'm just.
so it's a musical. It's not like your traditional musical. It's I don't know how you describe the style of music. Me not knowing really like the names of styles of music, it's just New Orleans sounding music to me.
Oh, that's my jam then, Sean.
So it's written as Americana, folk / indie folk.
Ooh.
So I don't know what the difference between folk and indie folk is. It was written, the music, the lyrics, and the book, the script, was written by Aeneas Mitchell, and it's based on the story of Orpheus and Eurydice.
Oh, I've heard that.
So it's Eurydice and Orpheus are lovers. She dies, and he decides to go to the underworld to get her back.
That's right, yeah.
And I think but the setting's quite modern, and it incorporates like mining and stuff like that when he's on his way down.
Just a 1.5 hour dig.
Yeah.
Get down to hell. Oh, it's just drums, it's just percussion all the way through.
And what you can do with this as well, because I think it's very niche, for want of a better word.
Okay.
But the Broadway album, it's on Spotify. I'm sure someone put it on YouTube. The Broadway album is the one I'm recommending, but it started off life in 2006 as a concept album.
Okay.
And she recorded it with people, and I should have written their names, but some of them are quite well known. You know the band Bon Iver?
Yes, aye.
I think it might be the singer or from that band.
I think you'll find it's Bon Iver.
Well,
because the name came from when they misheard someone saying "Happy Winter" when they were in Belgium, I think it was, which is Bon Iver. Yeah, aye. So they misspelled it because it's HIVRE.
That's probably why I pronounced it the way I read it. So a person from that is in that. I can't remember the guy's name. I should have written it down. So in 2010, it was recorded. It became a concept album. Sorry, in 2010. 2006 is when she came up with the idea. And it was a basic musical. Then she met who would be the director, Rachel Chavkin, and then they did an off-Broadway run. They went to Edmonton in Canada, then they went to London in 2018 at the National Theatre, then went to Broadway and just bossed the Tony Awards.
Cool.
But it's not your traditional sounding musical, and they've taken obviously a Greek story as its subject matter. And the cast, Reeve Carney, who played Peter Parker / Spider-Man in the Broadway Spider-Man music, he was also in the series Penny Dreadful. I don't know if you watched that.
I didn't. Did that Spider-Man ever get actually going? Or because they kept killing people, didn't they? People kept breaking their neck and stuff, didn't they? In pre-production.
It was a mess.
Right.
But you know what it is? It ran for a little while. But it's a good album as well. The songs are quite good.
All right.
U2 wrote that. Quite good. But yeah, it was just a mess. It should have been like a stadium thing, like the Batman Live was.
Right.
It should have been something like that. But yeah. But and Eurydice is played by Eva Noblezada. She is just taken off in the theatre world. She was in the Miss Saigon revival a few years ago, and then was in Les Mis. She's done it all. A guy called Patrick Page, who I'm not familiar with. He plays Hades. But he has got the best voice ever. His singing voice is bass and then some. I think that's how I describe it.
All right.
Yeah, it's like if James Earl Jones
went inside a sousaphone.
It's like if Darth Vader did like a one-man album, like solo album on his own. It's a beautiful voice. Amber Gray plays Persephone, and Andre de Shields plays Hermes. He won the Best Featured Actor in the Musical Tony for it. So yeah, it's fun. It's a good album. I listened to it when it first came out, and I was like, yeah. But a couple of months ago, I was like, I'm going to listen to that again, and that's why I thought I'd recommend it this week because it's different. It's like it's a musical, but it's not. And obviously, the storyline comes out in the album when you listen to it,
right?
And the album's recorded live in front of the audience as well, so it's a live recorded album.
All right, cool. That's always better than I hear.
But like I said, what I was trying to get at before, but I don't think I made my point, was the concept album that came out in 2010. That's available to listen to on things like YouTube as well, so you can compare.
Right.
Them.
Okay.
But obviously, it's a big listen. It's a good couple of hours long, so.
Oh, what? That's fine. I've got time.
if you find yourself falling off, don't worry about it. But I recommend giving it a good listen to some good.
I'll see what I can get through. That's Hades Town, you said, wasn't it? Hades Town. So that's how our trade-offs having the first ones work. So we've got Vader down for you and Hades Town for me. That they rhyme. Vader down in Hades Town. Oh, that's a comic book musical waiting to happen.
Spoiler for the first song, I believe it's called "Way Down in Hades Town."
Is it?
So
oh,
so I think
Way Down in Vader Town. That's where you're going to be. Brilliant! I love it. So, get your tips out. Get your tips out for the pod. Sean, do you want to get your tips out, or will I get mine out first?
Oh, get yours. I will keep going.
Get mine out. All right, okay. I've got 2 tips for this week, so I'll try and be brief on both tips. Double the tips, 2 tips. Well, I wanted to mention both because they sort of maybe tie in slightly, and one ties into the trade-off. So I'll go with the comic book one first. My comic book one is Mark Millar's Nemesis. I don't know if you'll have heard or seen this.
Mark Millar's the guy who did Kick-Ass.
He is the guy who did Kick-Ass, yeah. So there's a reason why he popped into my head yesterday, and you'll probably know because we've both been watching a certain TV series. And so Mark Millar popped into my head. I'll tell you about that reference later on. It's a deep cut. Right, so if you didn't pick up on it when watching a certain episode of a certain TV series that we've both been watching, then this may not make any sense. So Mark Millar did Kick-Ass, and I found myself thinking, oh
yes, I get the reference. I get your reference.
I found myself thinking it landed. I found myself thinking I want to do. I want to read Nemesis again. I went to my cupboard and I'm like, where's it gone? It's not there anymore. So Nemesis has disappeared from my collection. So I've gone and found it on eBay and I've bought it again. Good news, everyone! It's not expensive to buy. I think £2.9 including postage. I found it for on eBay today. So that's brilliant. But basically, Nemesis is what if Batman, but he decided to be a total asshole instead. So what if you had Batman's money and Batman's training and Batman's resources, but instead of being a nice guy, you decided to be something akin to what the people in First Class on Snowpiercer are. Do whatever you want. I will warn that it sounds funny, and it is fun, but if you are triggered or in any way by lots of different things, then this is not for you. I can't tell you what things you might be triggered by that might set you off, because it would spoil the ending. But if you were at all triggered by graphic violence and weird sexual things, avoid this. But if you're not, then pick it up, give it a read. Just know that this doesn't represent who I am. Just because I like this book. So this book, I'll mention as well, this was given... But this is actually... something for you, Sean. This was actually a vicarious recommendation that I got from watching one of my early episodes of Collider's Heroes, hosted by the late, great John Schnepp. So I bought this on the back of his recommendation in one of the really early episodes of Heroes that he did on that. And I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. You know, it's a really good, tight book, but it's really down and dirty and bad, and it's awful. It's very naughty. So yeah, Nemesis is my comic book recommendation. And the other one is just a quick one. I know I'm late to the party on this one, and I know, other people have saw this for what it was when it first came out, but Mad Max Fury Road, I bunged it on last week, and that is absolutely amazing, that film. I just wanted to say that, that's all. I just really wanted to say that. When it came out, I didn't appreciate it, and now that it's out, I think it's amazing. Sorry, you go on, because I've been talking for a bit.
Yeah, no. I was just going to say, like, when it came out, I've only watched it once. And when I watched it that once, I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuss is about. I was like, it's a good film, but everyone's going crazy for it. I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
but so I might have to give.
I would say if you need to be in the mood for it, it's when I first went into watching it, I was expecting Tom Hardy's in it, and I'll watch anything with Tom. I'd just seen Locke, so I'm like, oh yeah, Tom Hardy. I loved Tom Hardy, and Legend was coming. No, I don't know if Legend had been out then, but I watched Tom Hardy in anything. If there's I don't follow actors into films much, but Tom Hardy's one that I really do. I generally tend to look at directors and stuff, but yeah, Tom Hardy I went into this thing from him, and I was thinking it's going to be loads of acting from him, and it is loads of acting from him. But it's also very subtle. But mainly, it's not acting. It's all about the action. It's an action spectacular. It's just blows the fucking doors off, and it's amazing to watch. And George. What's his name? Is it George Miller? Ah, George Miller. I'm just talking about Mark Miller for comic books. I'm like, oh, George Miller, 80-odd-year-old when he directed this. And it's just brilliant. All you need to know about this is that if you haven't seen it, make sure that you're in for a absolutely blow your balls off action sort of nonsense. It's just, they drive in one direction for 3/4 of the film, and they drive back the other direction for the other quarter. That's it. But it's just action, and it's fucking blindingly beautiful. It's amazingly shot. Fucking brilliant.
So I think because I was a little bit late in watching it after it came out. So I'd heard, obviously, at the time, proper deep into watching things like, like Collider and Movie Talk and things like that. And people go mental for it. So I had high expectations going in. I tried to put away what I might have heard about things and just make up my own mind, which you should do anyway. But, we're human. Sometimes it's hard to get rid of all those sort of ideas you might have had from reviews or hearing other people talk about it. So I was expecting this absolute mental film. And I watched it and I was sort of I don't know if I wasn't in a good mood or I wasn't in the right mood, but I watched it sitting down in my house, kind of was that it? I don't know. I was just expecting more. It looked good. I was just a bunch of crazy people in cars, and it wasn't. Like I said, with Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, I was like, in Nicholas Hoult, we're getting something awesome. And they're not sort of, the characters aren't big acting-y sort of roles.
There's nothing showy for them to do, is there? Although there's a lot for them to do. They just, it's
but it's
within the purview of the film that it is.
Yeah. So I was maybe my expectations were a bit too much and I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And I was like, it's not what I was expecting it to be. And I haven't watched it since, so maybe I need to give it... Because the same thing happened... You mentioned Martian before. When I first watched Martian, I was like, what's the fuss about? And I watched it about maybe November, and I was like, that's what the fuss is about. And I was just maybe I just need to take some time and then...
Same with me, I was fresh off the book when I went in to watch The Martian, so it's never going to be... It's not the same experience. The book happens in your head. So it's always going to be better than someone laying it out in front of you. So
there's an exception to that rule.
Oh, what's that?
It's Forrest Gump, the film.
All right, I've never read the book. I didn't even realise it was a book.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's an amazing book.
Right.
The film's better. But we're going off on tangents. Maybe I should keep that for...
Aye, keep it as a tip for make me read a book 2 weeks. So what's yours, and Sean? That's me done. What's your tips?
So this is... You'll be fully aware of this person. And so I'm a fan of scores in films, and obviously we're talking about the accompanying music, not necessarily the songs that might pick up the soundtrack. The other day, I was trying to sort my room. Bit of a backstory here. I'm not long in this fact, so sorting things out. Went through a bunch of my DVDs. I've got nowhere to put them. And Braveheart.
All right, yeah. Oh, James Horner.
So he is my favourite composer in films. Obviously, you've got your John Williams, your John Barry, your Sylvestris, people like that. Yeah, they're awesome. I think James Horner is the unsung, because I don't know if a lot of people know his name. But
I think he is underrated, even though he is prolific.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to, because I was when Braveheart's one of my favourite films. When Braveheart falls on the floor, you think I'm going to put that on. What I did was I went on Spotify and listened to the soundtrack, the score album. Braveheart is one of my favourite films, and I think Braveheart and another one is Titanic. The Titanic, both great films. I think my personal opinion is those two are the best, in my opinion. The best two musical scores. That opinion won't be shared by many people. But to me,
I'd struggle to pinpoint what I thought were the best two anyway. But there's some crackers on there. I mean,
the sad thing is that James Horner died in 2015.
Plane crash. Yeah,
in a plane crash. There's this thing on TV. I can't remember what channel it's on. I found clips of it on YouTube. It's called Hollywood in Vienna. So they'll do a concert. And they'll have different directors. They've done a Hans Zimmer one. They've done John Williams. And when they play "Hymn to the Sea" from Titanic,
all right,
the song that opens the film in Titanic, James Horner wrote the score, and he has cried.
Really?
And every time they cut to him in the audience, I think it was filmed a year before he died as well. And they cut to him in the audience a couple of times, and every song they play, the guy, you can tell he just loves music, or maybe just loves listening to people play his music.
He's that egotistical. Kick a man after he's dead.
Not in an egotistical way. Just like he loves people playing music, and it just so happens it's his, and he's proud of it. So he's gonna. But what I was going to quickly do is, because you hear obviously Braveheart, Titanic. The most recent film that he did was the year after he died. It came out, The Magnificent Seven.
Oh yeah, aye. I saw it at the cinema.
He did the 33 about the Chilean miners.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That film, Southpaw. But I was looking through his thing, right? He did The Amazing Spider-Man. But what I'm going to get at, the remake of The Karate Kid. I'm trying to get to the films I want to talk about. Avatar, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Spider-Man Chronicles, Apocalypto. But his best decade, without a doubt, is the 90s, right? So I'll quickly, just indulge me while
all those films that you just rattled off now. Amazing though.
Sort of Troy.
I love Troy. That's much maligned, that film, but I loved it.
I liked it. It's a good film. Iris in 2001, A Beautiful Mind.
Oh yeah.
Enemy at the Gates. The Jim Carrey, The Grinch, he did that. Perfect Storm. But 90s, right? Listen.
I love Perfect Storm.
Especially 95 in particular. But 1999, Bicentennial Man. Mighty Joe Young. The Mask of Zorro. He did the sequel to Zorro as well. Deep Impact. Not a great film, but the music in that's really, really good. Titanic, obviously. Ransom, Courage Under Fire.
Is this just 1999?
Apart from Well, no, but we're back in 96.
All right, I was going to say this guy's busy in a year.
Well, listen to 1995, right? Balto, I've never seen it. It's an animated thing, right? Jumanji, a film called Jade, which I haven't seen, but it looks sexy by the picture.
Oh.
Apollo 13, Casper, Braveheart. That's what he did in 1990.
The soundtrack to Apollo 13 was something else.
Apollo 13, amazing.
That was really good.
And Jumanji, I didn't even realise he did Jumanji. But even going back, I mean, Legends of the Fall, Pagemaster, Clear Present Danger. He did Land Before Time, The Pelican Brief. There's another big one, I cannot remember what it's called now. But honestly, he's just, the films this man's done, Patriot Games, American Tail, Rocketeer.
Yeah.
48 hours, another 48 hours. All the 48 hours. Glory. The films this man's done. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, I love that. I love that film.
Field of Dreams. Cocoon. It's just, it keeps going. That's the thing about Barry's not included. Willow. You did Willow?
He did do Willow.
Honestly.
Jimmy C does love him. Like, Jimmy C's just like, I'm making a film. Come and do it.
yeah. Aliens. He did Aliens as well. I totally forgot about that. Aliens. But honestly, what my tip is, just listen to one of his film scores.
Yeah.
He's got about a billion. It's still going, Billy. It's still going.
He's good. I would say definitely Apollo 13 is definitely a standout for me. Some crackers on there. Yeah. And again, I'm rubbish with the names of tracks, but
I'm not the best.
Yeah, just if you want something to listen to, it doesn't sound great, but on in the background, the Apollo 13 soundtrack is pretty good. A pretty good one to listen to. The one thing I really enjoy playing is "For the Love of a Princess" off of Braveheart. That's a really good one to like for playing. I really like that one. It's nice to listen to as well, but it's just the way it moves and swells and things is.
The thing that stands out for me, because it just so happens that a lot of his films that he's done are a lot of films that are my favourite films. Braveheart's one of my favourite films, but the first thing I always think of Braveheart is the music.
Right.
And it's an absolute, to me, it's a joke that he didn't win an Oscar for that. Out of all them films, he's been nominated a fair few times. He's only won 2 Oscars, and it was Titanic. Both for Titanic, the song and the score.
The thing is, John Williams has probably won the other ones every time he's been up against him. Every time he's been nominated.
Oh, probably. And he's like the stripper of music. He's going to win. To me though, what stands out is this, like, especially like Zorro. Again, Zorro's one of I like Zorro. It's a good film. I wouldn't call it guilty pleasure because I don't have guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty for liking what I like. So I like Zorro, but the music. It feels Mexican, it feels Spanish, it feels Latin. It's got that feel to it.
Yeah.
Written by, I'm pretty sure he's American, I could be wrong. And Braveheart, the music's so Scottish, but it's written by an American. Again, I assume he's American. I think he is.
I think he is.
Titanic, it's of its time. It's of its time. It's recognisable from when he's writing it, and I feel the emotion.
I think he only seems to come out in these types of conversations, when there's people like us talking about films who are talking about scores, he's all over the show, but I think the reason why he doesn't really get a lot of play when people talk about musical scores is that people know how to use his music. None of his stuff's really big and showy, apart from the likes of your Bravehearts and your whatever the other one was. Braveheart and Titanic. They're sort of the biggest ones, but much like a lot of other films and a lot of stuff that John Williams does as well, or Hans Zimmer. Good directors know how to use good music, good score. And I think James Horner's been lucky enough to work with good directors who've used his music well so that it doesn't interfere with the film.
Exactly. But to me, it's more subtle. Obviously, there's recognisable ones like Titanic. I think if they didn't have the song My Heart Will Go On, which obviously he did the music for as well, he would do all that. Like, that song took on a world of its own, and so in a lot of the score is recognisable in that song, so people recognise that. But in fans of the films, like fans of Braveheart, will recognise the Braveheart main tune as soon as it happens. But they're not sort of like the films have been successful. A lot of his films he's done, but unlike John Williams, who falls on Superman, who ended up doing Star Wars, Harry Potter, his films are franchise films. But I don't think James Horner did. He did Aliens, and he did 40 Hours, another 40 Hours. There were a couple of sequels, but obviously Avatar's got another 25 films coming. That will be a franchise. And I think because I'm looking at his IMDb there, he's credited. So I think they'll be using some of the original Avatar songs, music. Sorry, in the new one as well. I don't know who's taken over. I don't know who's doing it.
No clue.
So it's like, I think John Williams, obviously his music's more, like I said, it's franchise. It's more recognisable. There's more. So
will Avatar be the first Jimmy C film that Horner hasn't scored then? That'll be a thing to look up, wouldn't it?
Might be. Well, James Cameron did what the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, True Lies.
All right, yeah, aye.
He directed that. I didn't see him there, so I don't think he did that one. James Cameron did Terminator, didn't he? I don't think he did Terminator.
All right, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just he's I don't know underrated, but maybe just well known for the amount of films he's done. Like when I was looking through the list, I was just every couple of, there's a few there that I didn't know, and a couple of sort of niche films and films I just haven't heard of. But then all of a sudden you'll be hit with like Aliens or Clear and Present Danger. These things that I've heard of. Willow, which one of my favourite films. Again, go back to what I was saying before. But I could see a Willow continuation. I think they're going to do another Willow.
It's talk about a series, I think. I think Netflix are in talks of a series. Yeah, aye. What was it? I think the only thing I've really heard though was like Val Kilmer has said he would come back for a Willow. Of course he has. He's not doing anything. Warwick Davis has said he would come back and do a Willow. Yeah, of course he would. Who wouldn't? Like, it's just various different actors, and like James Cameron has said he might be interested. So that's more of a thing. But like, yeah, various different actors who are in Willow and aren't really doing that much just now would be in Willow.
I was just going to quickly say I looked at Avatar 2. In music department's got 2, James Horner, and it says music editor Dick Bernstein.
Oh yeah, aye.
So
can't pull anything from the top of my head for Dick Bernstein.
Silver Linings Playbook. You worked with him on the other Avatar. Apocalypto, Deep Blue Sea. I like that.
Apocalypto's a stunner.
I watched it when it first came out and haven't gone back to it, and I was like, I think I was in a different mindset.
I haven't gone back to it because it's a chew. You've got to read it. But yeah, is that us? All right then. Thanks everyone for listening to us waffle on for what is now a couple of hours.
I know there will have to be some editing chops done. Mind you, there's a couple of pauses in there.
Yeah, there's a couple of breaks. Yeah, but thanks very much everyone for listening. Remember to like and share all this sort of stuff. You can email us if you've got any feedback for us or any questions that you might have popping up or anything you want us to read out on the show. You can email us at w.a.f.l.e.p.o.d@gmail.com. That's w.a.f.l.e.p.o.d@gmail.com. Damn, I stumbled. And you can find us on Facebook at Whitty Analysis, a feature films and light entertainment podcast. And you can find us on Twitter at Waffle Podcast 1. Thanks again for listening. And as we always say on here, don't nemesis anyone. That's not a good thing to do. Goodbye.